Dana, this is Rob Schneider, our good bud, who I can't believe it's taken this long. We got Rob on. He's one of our pals from Grown Ups and a million other things. Orgasm guy, sensitive naked man. You remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
That's funny.
It was quirky.
So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to tell you a quick story. Do you want to hear about my Monkees audition or my Lorne phone call? Or my mom's
Well, let's
feet?
Start with the Monkees audition.
Okay, that's it. I'll just do one for this intro.
Okay.
Because we got to talk about Rob. Unfortunately, it's not all about us. Which it usually is on the podcast.
Well,
I go, thanks, guest. That reminds me of a 22-minute story.
It's like a long joke. Two narcissists start a podcast.
The guest is the whole time like Woody Allen going, if I could jump in, I had a quick question, just maybe an anecdote.
Sure. Because... Yes, you kind of swallow and smack your lips, because, I'm allergic to podcasting, you see, because
I don't mean to be didactic or facetious, but as of this moment, I haven't said a word.
I knew
it's
a guy
been an hour 20.
who went to dinner at his house, and he said Woody had 5 Heinekens in a row and never used the bathroom, never was intoxicated. And the guy said, Woody, you have 5 Heinekens, never used the restroom. He goes, yeah, it's my special talent.
If that's true, it's hilarious.
That's word for word true.
Okay, so I'll do this one on the next one, Monkees audition. But this one is Rob Schneider. What can you say? He's got a career. He's got movies. He's got the hot chick, which had Rachel McAdams. Kind of not discovered her, but he had Anna Faris and Rachel Adams, I think.
Yeah, the thing about Rob, it was fun to revisit that he is quite a storyteller.
Yes.
And you're going to enjoy this episode because he takes his time. One of the reasons the episode went so long is because he's such a great storyteller, and he'll come at these things comprehensively, like this part, that part, and get to it, which is really nice for podcasting. So much fun. And he sings.
Oh, yeah?
He does a lot of funny little accents and stuff.
He does a million. He does so many characters and accents. Yeah.
He breaks down his catchphrase, Adam Sandler famous catchphrase.
I read for that, Dana.
For you can do it?
Yeah, I go, you can do it. I did it like too dramatic, and Adam was like, thank you, we'll let you know.
My thing, I went and read too, and I just.
What'd you do?
I went a little sexy. You can do it.
Really? And it was screaming at a football game, and that was your choice?
I just didn't read the script. I just went and go, you can do it.
I read the script. It's fine, and that's great.
It's great, Carvey, but next time.
Next time, maybe skim just the page of the script when it says stadium full of people.
No, I did not read for You Could Do It, but Rob, he's the only one who could do it. Copy Machine, we go through that. It's great. Massive Headwind Harry and Il Cantore, we break down those, which I
big news, which I shouldn't say. Did he write fucking Massive Headwind Harry?
It was his. I'm
That's
sure,
unreal.
it's then people could chime in, but it was Rob's, and he will tell you
I thought it was handy.
Stories about what happened at the end of Massive Headwind Harry, because what happened was a little incendiary involving an animal, and there was a method to the madness. Yes. How's that for a tease? I'm teasing more now.
And this one's a two-parter, and or as I call it, a two-farter. No, I don't. Actually, I don't say that.
This is great you're in here. These are just really fun, because I can get a sense of you, like if
usually
something's wrong or you're bored or you're suppressing a yawn.
Your eyes darting.
That face that says, why did I say yes?
No, can we start it?
It's going. Okay. We're already going. We're already halfway done.
Oh, boy.
Wait, can I use
We're almost done. One last question for Rob.
I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be back in an hour.
I'll deal with this guy. There's one down here, dude.
So many thoughts were flying through my head.
Go to bathroom 38. It's straight across.
So many thoughts were flying through my head.
You just have to field questions. It's easier.
On the way here. I'll wait for Dana to come back. But
Hurry, Dana.
No, the thing about you, David, was you had you were unlike me. I would go to life and there was a very Asian thing, very Chinese thing. When I did a movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme in China. It was a different thing, and this is going to come back to you eventually. But what happened was, if there was in the Western world, if there is a problem, you look at it and go, okay, well, these are the tools that we need. This is how long it's going to take, and these are the amount of people we're going to get. Now, in China, it was the exact opposite. They'd run to a place with the people that they had, figured out what the problem was there, and use the tools that they could. So it was, in other words, it was like a lot of things blowing up on set, and like, the generator or whatever getting rained on and blowing up. And so, but you figured out things quicker. Like, for instance, like when I first met David at an acting class here in town.
Oh, that's right.
You kind of figured out where the good-looking girls, who the good-looking girls were,
where we were headed.
and then you also had like, instead of like, when I moved down here, I moved into like a dump. And then like you buy like the one piece of furniture, and then I went to your house and you had a scam worked out way ahead of time, which is like you moved in with a really good looking older woman. You just rented a room in her house, and the place was tricked out already.
Oh, right. She
had
already
a
had
beautiful couch.
Yeah.
She had like, first of all, a couch was like a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Nice. And then she had stuff on the walls. She had nothing on the walls. She had a refrigerator, and you just worked out this delicate situation with her. And I went like, holy shit, I would have never figured that out.
I was looking at the paper.
That's our David.
I was looking at the paper for places to live, and on my own, I couldn't click and get one, and it was too expensive. And then hers was $400, but she already had a 2-bedroom. So I just went and met random people.
Yeah.
And then it was in Toluca Lake, and it had a room. She had the big room, and she had the whole place beautifully done. I would just walk in, skim through the kitchen. You could keep stuff in the fridge. She was very nice. And just go in my room. So that's all I needed. I had a room with a bed and then a little desk and then a TV in the corner so I could write, pick up the phone, hear your messages, and then sleep. So that's all I needed. And it really...
But she was also a very attractive
that was random.
older woman. And when I say older, I mean she was
point.
30, which was like,
was
for us, that was like a
really
crazy old girl.
It was like Mrs. Robinson. Yeah, and I never even flirted
how
with
did he
it.
figure this out?
But she was
Spade
too
all-
out of my league, too pretty. She was an actress, and she was 5 years older than us, 6 years, 7 years older.
Yeah, which is
Which is huge. And
big jump.
it was weird to talk to girls our age. We had no confidence back then, and we were just like, and she was so great. But then I think the day I left, she's like, oh, we never dated.
Wow.
And I was like, you could have said something. I stayed there 11 years.
Well, you know what?
I stayed there all during SNL.
Mary Lou Henner, who we're talking about, said to me, "Can I set the scene for 30 seconds?
Sure.
I do this for the audience.
Yeah.
So this is a trifecta of people who've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Rob and I doing stand up in San Francisco in the early days for him. He was like at 8th grade. I don't know, but he was always great. And then how I intersected with you at Neal's, what we said in the podcast. And then you two hooking up. Dennis Miller gets in there. Next thing you know, I get on SNL. And then here come Schneider and Spade. I just wanted to set the table that we've known each other a long time.
Yeah, there was a thing, but because we were on, I want to get to the Dana track of it all. I'm going to interview you guys. But you had a way of figuring things out. And then one thing, because I've been listening to the podcast, was the psychological makeup that for people for comedians who get on SNL. And like, I've been like
Interesting.
deep into this kind of, well, I would call it like emotional damaged people.
Sure.
I consider
Pretty
myself
accurate.
there. It's like, no, it was like, it's got to be one parent who's missing, unavailable, either physically or emotionally. And another one trying to make up for it, who has also got problems because she's with somebody who's emotionally and physically not available. And so that was the kind of the click.
Wow, that was mine exactly.
So there is something about that, like, who's not there. And it's just depending on who, like, and then that other parent tries to make up for it and can never completely. But at the same time, like, also the youngest person in the family, there's the thing about the youth. Or, sometimes it's an older one who felt like they had to clean up for everybody else in the family. There was a weird thing, though, where, like, there was missing something, so you felt like you had to go out in the world and try to get it.
So gross, but pretty accurate.
What about and then that begets resiliency. If you have dysfunctional parents, you become the adult in a way. And then show business, which is an emotionally violent sport. Because I want to ask you guys, like, you bomb that night or an SNL person's there and you don't do well. you just go through a landfill, and then it's a Darwinian thing. Like, who survives the Game of Thrones of early stand-up?
How do you not give up?
Makes friends, other people up the food chain recognize, in your case, your guys stood out from all the young comedians on a tier below me, and for your writing and everything else. And like, how did you deal, Rob? So how did you fight through this, or were you how did you get on Saturday Night?
I think it was a combination of extremely vulnerable and extremely hypersensitive. I remember when I was in second grade, because my mom's was Filipino. She just recently passed away. Asian and a really tough war survivor, and she was and I've through therapy through Dr. Gabor Mate, who's an amazing Hungarian therapist. He's like, it's like he would call it generational trauma. In other words, that's passed on to you. I didn't even realize about this. So but we would eat weird things, and my friends wouldn't come over to the house twice. You know what I'm saying? Once you see somebody's mom sucking the eyes out of a fish and crunching it in front of them, they don't come back for that second meal. So that's it. So that's the and so
what happened to
that's
fish
the way I
sticks?
grew up. So there would be you go to your other friends. There weren't like heads. You don't go to a place and there's the head of a fish
or the
head of the shrimp and stuff. But I loved that. But it was embarrassing
because you were taught to love it, and you didn't even know what you were eating.
Is it okay for you right now to do your mom explaining that to your friends?
It is. Now I can.
How she sounded.
I'm in my face, but see what? And it was this. It's very harsh.
That's what I was
Robert,
doing. His mom.
It was literally like my whole childhood.
Okay.
Robert. It was just literally like just if not physically, emotionally, kind of jumping back. But I remember being in second grade. Being at the tide pools, because that's what you do if you're a California kid.
Yeah,
they don't take you to the zoo. It's cheaper to just go to like the ocean and see if there's anything over there.
Pacifica,
in
Northern California.
So we went to the tide pool, and then I remember picking up one of these things that we would eat. It would be an Asian thing, like a little clam or something. And I said, "This smells good." And I remember the teacher saying, "Ew, Robert, that's disgusting. Put it down." And that's when I realized. I said, at 7 years old, I said, "I am way more sensitive than any of the other kids in my class, and that's my weakness."
Yeah.
And I knew that right then. And that was, and then it took 20 years to realize, well, that's also your strength. So it's a combination of the two things: extreme sensitivity, but also and my parents were it was like being raised by 12-year-olds. My mother first, because that was when her trauma happened when, in the Philippines, when the Japanese came over and both her brothers were murdered by the Japanese. And so that trauma from that time, whenever she had problems, she would revert to that because that was her survival mechanism. So when she was mad at my dad, I remember coming home and seeing every glass, every plate in the whole house that she could reach on the floor broken. And my brother would just go, "Hey, you got to wear your shoes today in the house." There was another Asian.
And how old were you at that point when you see the broken glass? You're like 6, 7, 8?
Yeah, like young. Like
really an impressionable time. That does never get, the childhood fucks with you.
And you laugh at it. And then the dad would come home, Marvin would come home, the mature guy would come home, and everything my mom couldn't reach, he would break. And so we'd come home and
even
you'd
it out?
see nothing but broken stuff. And it's like, this is normal. Didn't happen every day, but there was that was representative of like, whoa. There's a landmine here. So, but it did make you tough. And I remember going back to stand-up.
Yeah.
I just remember the sensation of bombing. And I said, okay, this has to be instructional. And that's the kind of thing of being tough.
And this is you in high school, right? When you started
stand-up.
Yeah. Okay.
Bombing, because it's like, David, you can relate to this too. It's like when you're performing and you're not an adult, people are concerned about you. You're being in a club, there's alcohol there. They're not relaxed, and they have to be relaxed. To watch and
sure.
And so I just remember eating it so hard one time, bombing on stage, the physical feeling of it. And I said, okay, remember what this is. As I was walking off stage, the only thing I can describe it as, it felt like my ears were melting off of my head.
Yeah, sometimes when I get off, when it's such a bomb, it feels like the Hurt Locker where a bomb goes off. She's like, "Ee!" And everyone's talking to me. You can't see their mouth. You're just walking off going, because you're thinking of so many things, what went wrong, what was going on, and how everyone's repelled from you because you bombed and they don't want to be near you. But I didn't quit. And I was saying it was like Officer and a Gentleman. I got nowhere else to go. I didn't have any other plan. Once I started doing stand-up, I quit school, and then I go, I have to keep doing this because I'm not good at anything.
But it's instructional, though, because at the same time, what I didn't realize, and now as I realize, through years of therapy. Like I feel like I'm Charles Grodin. Charles Grodin would
by
talk
the way,
to you.
when did you start?
I'm stealing your
15.
therapy because
Therapy at 15?
No, 15 therapy. Oh God, on and off for years, but the last few
Okay.
years, pretty good.
All right, so go back. You said Charles Grodin.
Charles Grodin would be, when you talk to him, he talked to you like, he said, he basically treated everybody like they were just getting out of drug rehab, you know? So every conversation, every word was kind of like this, you know? So very gentle so that everybody, and it's just, it's too much, you know? But
when did you talk with Charles Grodin? I'm sorry, just
no, Charles Grodin. Well, remember he had a talk show. There
you went on
MSNBC, one of those.
Yeah.
And he had one of those guys.
He was like a
He said,
therapist.
this is too much therapy.
Phyllis Diller is here.
you know
I
when
knew him for a while on
But
SNL.
the idea of it, though, is instructional now that I think about it, because you do have to melt away the ego. You have to kind of start from zero to do stand-up. To risk yourself, to risk humiliation, you got to let go of that ego and this stuff. And then
I'm
you
sure
start
we
to
all didn't
slowly
have
build
much
up.
ego though.
Huh?
We all didn't have much ego then. I mean, it was more like I didn't think I was a good stand-up. I was trying to be a good one, and I was sort of all broken down into the bits anyway. So any elevation we got to, there was a point when Rob and I were pretty much, from Dave Becky, the guys that booked like the improv and stuff, were pretty much two of the best middles out there, getting I think 1,000 each. That was a lot for 7 shows.
they don't
For
get
a
that
week.
now. Yeah,
Yeah,
you could. They'd fly you somewhere.
Yeah,
and
give
they
you
put
like
you in the
1,000.
condo, the comedian's
they
condo.
got
And he was
1,000
like,
for the week.
they'd pay you as much as $1,250 or $1,500 a weekend.
Wait, what?
Which was crazy.
You got money.
Wait a minute.
I think I capped out at 1,000, and that's when we got SNL because we were friendly. We were friendly with Drake Sather. We knew maybe Apatow, Sandler. There were some guys in the Valley doing the Valley Improv and all that. And then when we got
We never had
SNL,
more. We never were good headliners, but we were monster middles.
Yeah, we didn't realize how hard
You both opened for me. I'll say at the end of the podcast who was the hardest guy to follow. We actually have a cliffhanger. I'm going to say. I always want a second go back to the ego thing because I think that's really interesting. Did you guys have a sense, even if it was here and there, like a sneaky ego, or kind of like, I think I might be able to do this? Like maybe you were the funny guy in 7th grade, or you did a book report and they laughed. So
That's the problem.
you might have had a little bit of a sneaky ego of like, I think I can do this.
This is one thing I would respectfully disagree with you on that, David.
Yeah,
it's gigantic ego, it's fragile, and extreme sensitivity, extreme vulnerability. And that combination is show business.
It's such a horror show.
It is. Because what it is, but what happens is once you have that monster thing that happened, like for me it was in high school, where all of a sudden I was the funny guy, and then everything changed. Like girls who would never look at me, looked at me, and then that was it. That's my end. So that was the one kernel that would keep you going, because you said, this can really work. I know I can do this. I murder with my friends. And so that combination of that, and then so when you're bombing and stuff, you go, this could work. This could work.
right. And but you're not with your friends anymore, and that's the way people say I'm the funniest guy at my office. When you go to a stage where
Hard
no
to
one
explain
knows,
that to the audience, though. Seriously.
Well, I think
I'm
it's
the funniest guy.
part of the charisma, and I think with you guys too, it's sort of like that likability comes from the vulnerability. But get out of the way, I'm the shit. You know, it's like Elvis Presley, which you played in Hawaii. Or
Elvis in
something.
Japan.
Yeah.
Well, I want to get to that in a second. But I do think the charisma, because there were alpha male comics that were like bludgeoning the audience and killing with just sort of
Energy and
and
loudness,
crowd work and stuff. And they didn't go as far as the sensitive guys who also could be strong. And also, you guys are both great writers. We'll get to that later. I hate to say that, but you really were.
we're getting to nothing
Thank
now.
you.
Everything's later.
You have to recognize to be
Stay tuned
successful.
for part 2.
I did recognize that when I was doing stand up, and you have a couple of good moments or whatever, some jokes, but then you see people who. And I didn't have the confidence, and sometimes you kind of get a little of it. But then you see people who are really confident and not talented. You
Yeah,
had to recognize
that's
and I didn't
infuriating.
understand that.
Yeah.
That didn't make sense to me. It's like, why is that guy confident?
And they're headliners, and you're like, this act
Confident, but
sucks.
not talented.
Yeah. So with that, and you had to recognize, okay, what's the difference? How am I going to make it? You walk into a place in 1982, 83.
Yeah.
There's 30 comics and go, but I did recognize. Just in those part of the strength that I did get from my my violent mother was like, how are you going to make it? How am I going to make it? And these guys probably aren't. What's going to be the difference?
Yeah.
And I would make that thought.
Yeah.
You know,
And I go,
Dana,
I got to work hard on these guys, and also I got to get rid of anything in my act that they're talking about.
Yeah, that's the hard part. The more stuff you have, a side note, about yourself, least likely it's going to bump with someone else. Because when I go up and the guy, and I'm like a middle, and the headliner goes, "You're going before me?" Yeah. And he goes, "Okay, don't do anything about Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, driving." And I go, "That's my fucking whole act." So I'm not allowed to do it because it bumps with his, which is something that happens. The other switch for me and Rob is jumping ahead. After SNL, we could headline, and we weren't quite ready. And the biggest thing about headlining for me that was harder was A, following a good middle like a Rob, and then B, the checks going out. The people at home don't know that when you're doing an hour set or even 45, around 25 or 30 minutes, the checks go down, and that means everyone needs to pay so they can get them out.
Oh, they're doing math.
And everyone stops laughing. Yeah. They just go look at their check and go, "Hey, who had 2 Cokes? Did you have the curly fries?"
What's 10% of 179?
What's 3% of? And then everyone's like talking, and then you go, "Wait, that joke usually kills it." And people never warn me, "Oh, the checks go out right about then." And there's some comics that say, "Don't put the checks out until I'm off," which is,
I don't mind
it
anymore.
fucks the waiters over because, I never say that because if you can get through that hump, then you're good again. Because
if you're killing.
When you hit that hole and you go, "Oh no, the checks went out my head." I see someone like slow motion going, "Oh, let me get my Visa." I go, "Oh my God, everyone's getting them right now and no one's listening." And then you got to bring them back for your closer. You got to somehow keep them around.
It's
I
warfare.
got out of stand-up for 20 years because of that. Because I respected the art form too much to do it. If you're not doing it all the time, and I didn't want to eat it and blah, blah, blah. And I said, if I'm going to do this, I got to do it full time.
And when people pay, you don't want to rip them off by doing like a half-ass.
I don't want to do a celebrity victory lap. So I had to jump back into it hard, and I did. And it's been like, now I'm ready to get out of it again.
But the name of my tour is Celebrity Victory Lap, so I feel so stupid.
What happens is, so you guys are just middle. So you have like a 30 when you got on
20,
SNL.
let's be honest.
Okay,
Let's be honest.
I'm trying to be generous. I'm a nice guy.
25.
Okay, you had 15. You had 10
Solid
good minutes
15.
anyway, and some filler. So then you get on SNL and you become the bad boys of comedy, and you both have this great run in the 90s on SNL.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden you're being offered, can you go do an hour at a college for like 20 grand or 15 grand? But you don't have it. So I
broke. At a certain point, I stopped doing stand-up. But I remember where it was. It's 1992. It was 4,000 people in Milwaukee. And I said,
"You're famous now."
Now I'm famous.
Yeah.
And I never had the thing where people are paying to see you before and they're yelling out stuff that they're
making
yelling
copies.
And it's during the day. It's during the day. There's also like,
gross.
So they're sober. They're not. Well, this is Milwaukee, so they're drinking during the day. They're all so. And then they do. You do the show. And I stumbled and I got through it and it was like, I gritted it out. And then there's 2 shows that day because they're paying you a lot of money. There's two shows. And then I walk out there and I look and I go, the most frightening thing is it's the same.
No.
Day.
Oh. No.
And I got to do it again.
The same crowd.
I can't pull it off.
Grotesque.
What did you do? I can't go on?
I mentally broke. And I got
start crying.
It's like a nightmare.
No, but it's like, from doing stand-up so much times, when you're having the middle of like a set that ain't the best one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you get through it because you're like you can go into that robot mode. And I remember talking to it's a weird thing because in show business, you show up at a place and you're like this too, Dana. You just like, what experience can I get out of this particular situation? And I do that. So I was on some show, I forget if it was Leno or Letterman or one of those things. And there's this Asian violinist. She's like famous. I'm sorry, I forget her name now. But I said, how many days a year do you feel like on? And she said, well, I work 250 dates a year. I said, how many of those dates would you guess she felt like at the top of her name?
Good question.
Do you know how many she said?
I'm going to say 2.
Yeah.
I got it.
Shut up. I was going to say 240.
She said 2? Ding, 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 ding,
wow,
ding.
because then
David?
you know exactly that the little tiny thing. It's like, because when first of all, Dana was the guy in San Francisco. There's 2 guys that were so talented that Hollywood came up. There was Robin Williams and Dana Carvey who were so talented. You don't mind me saying, it's just a fact. You were famous before you were famous. They were so talented that Hollywood started coming up looking for. Well, it's got to be. They're
going
making
up
them up
there
here
to get them. Yeah.
Look, well, there's more, but okay, I guess we'll take that guy. And it was just like
it's comedy.
I was like
now.
the third tier of those guys. Well, all right. Well, then he's young enough.
There.
Maybe he'll turn this on. But Dana would have lines around the block. And, performing for open mics, you don't really get that audience. You can't really tell if your material kills or not, whatever. But When you're open for Dana Carvey, you have a chance to have a real audience who's there for comedy.
Good comedy
who's
crowd.
excited about comedy. Dana used to, part of his act, he used to be able to do stuff about people waiting in line for his next show. And then that was some of the funniest stuff in the show. Because it was like at the other cafe, there was like an open
window.
You
window.
could see them through the window?
You see them waiting to come in.
And other comedians, we would just sit in the back and just watch and go like, okay. I said, well, we're good, but we can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, I had the same thing with Robin. I just kept thinking I got to get better every time he'd come up and
good
levitate
to
the
have
Holy
that.
City Zoo. And I was starting in college, so by the time you saw me, Rob, I had gotten other cafe opened in '79, and that's sort of where I started to develop. The first time I did a character. For 30 seconds, that wasn't me. I was terrified. So by the time that club really saved me. Because, you play the honky-tonk bars, the cowboy bars with the blender going, and your act gets bluer and louder. But that was it was a 60-seater, old hippies in there.
They rewarded you.
70s?
It's the difference
No wonder
between
you could
like
sell it
liberals
out.
in San Francisco in the 60s and 70s, which are like question authority.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and they'd go with you. And if you were taking more artistic license, and sometimes like Grace Slick would be in the audience, you'd have like, it was like, there were these cool, kind of what I loved about San Francisco
Poetry
was the
vibes.
bohemian vibe.
Yes.
And which was artistic and were supporting you like those, the great, Ferlinghetti and the City Lights bookstore. It was a place you go. They printed their own books. So San Francisco had that vibe at that time. It still had it.
It was eclectic, cool neighborhood.
And now it's gone. But that was a really, now it's
Have you
not
been to the
tolerant.
Gun Down Saloon there? It's not bad.
Last day
Good stand-up
saloon.
there.
But that was a place where they did reward you for going further.
Topical.
Yes.
And would go, and then, so that was the perfect place.
Yeah.
And for that, you really did get a chance to see, and you were like levitating on stage. It was just you were floating, and then the characters that you would do, you'd pummel an audience. They were literally exhausted leaving.
Rape and pillage.
Jeez, Louise, I'm loving this podcast. We should take our time. Let's not make this a rushy one.
Let's
no, it's
talk
very nice, Rob.
about-
But when you appeared, because I want to throw out some names because
Yeah.
it's nostalgic. So Rob and I came up from the San Francisco comedy scene, which so
And the comedy, let me just interrupt 1 second. And the comedy, the big thing back then was, if you were a comic then, was the San Francisco comedy competition.
Oh, yeah.
yes.
And
huge.
you didn't want to win it, but you wanted to get top 5.
What was the
Yes.
newspaper
But
called?
Dana would do this thing, and he told me this. Dana gave me nuggets, which I held to this day, because, and it really was. And he used to drive to I'll never forget this, when you drove to the comedy competition, because that was a lot of pressure, and the talent scouts were coming, and it was a big effing deal. Robin Williams, that was
around,
and this was the time where it was like, it was big. You would perform with like 1,500 people. It was that big.
And
the
you go
competition.
through weeks of rounds to get to the finals.
And then and you would, and he told me, that Dana said that on the way to the place he would listen to the Beatles. It's getting better all the time.
That's true. Yeah.
A little better.
What a weirdo.
better.
Isn't that kind of cool? It's a little sexy.
Because and Dana would say things like this: I need to feel funny before I go on stage. No one told me that. He had to feel silly. He got himself in the place. So there was a methodology. We didn't just do it. Because sometimes you just see the after effect. Like we didn't see the college years and working your way up and watching Robin, having to follow Robin. We just saw, the audience just sees what they see. So, but to
when you walk
learn
out.
the craft and to learn at the high level that you were at, and just as a young man watching it, it's like, okay, that's how you do this. That was very instructional.
And it prepares you for SNL in a way. I mean, there's people who came up through Groundlings and stuff, which kind of take their sketch and put it on. Stand-up is so rough and tumble. You have to be so tough that on SNL, all you're trying to do, and it took me, I think, 80 shows, just to quiet that voice in the back of your head saying, this isn't going well. I missed that line. Oh, I dropped that.
Dress was
I
better.
didn't commit like I did at Dress. And so I wonder where you came in and when you felt like you got in the groove with SNL. Like, were you out of the box or 40 shows?
We did 4 shows in the 89-90 season. They brought us in, which was like, it was wonderfully, it was just amazing to just be there. You were like somebody, Bernie Brillstein, who was,
talent manager extraordinaire. Went to the
and he was
stars.
also, but he would also give you to look.
Yeah.
One is gonna not let you. One, you're gonna have to wait, and that's part of it. Is you wait, so it lets you know that you are less important, but not in a bad way. But it's like you gotta know that the blah blah blah.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
And so you.
So this is a famous talent manager.
By the way, also,
managed Belushi and
Belushi,
Aykroyd telling you this.
and Lorne.
listen
And Lorne.
It's
and
all-
Lorne.
yeah.
So the thing about it was like, I mean,
ridiculous.
it actually
Lorne
Lorne.
managed everybody.
His whole Lorne Michaels, a famous comedy and legend who launches careers, would also have his system make it a little easier. So he would rather just, if you were in the Brillstein camp, that was like minor league ball until you get a chance to get in there. But I remember like the night that we auditioned at the Improv, and by that time I was hardened and I was ready to go, and I had a monster set to do because I had a monster. I remember because Jay Leno, Bob Fisher, our old manager,
Fisher was another talent manager in the San Francisco scene.
who could identify talent. So
Yeah.
you're going to make it, and I'm never wrong. It's just nice to hear that.
Wow.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
Did you have a surefire when you auditioned? A bit
Yeah.
that kind of always
Elvis
killed?
on a fish hook?
Yeah. So I
Did
had
you share
I had
that
my
with
stuff.
our listeners?
I had stuff.
I'll give you one of his.
Okay. Well, let's
Go ahead, Rob.
Elvis on a fish
Well,
hook.
it's like
That's a visual.
God, I forget the exact thing, but it was a thing where you could act it out, where
Right.
you did an
Visual.
impression
Okay,
and could act it out, and it was an interesting idea.
because you did a
interesting
really
enough
good
idea.
Elvis.
Yeah, so I did I was Elvis is when I first I was always into Monty Python, and by the time Saturday Night Live came in, it was over. I was into it. Cheech and Chong, it was over with. I was in this for life. And but the thing that for performing, the guy that I was turned on by most as a performer was Elvis, just because of
Such a stud.
the album 100 million fans can't
be
be
wrong.
wrong.
Yeah.
Unreal.
It's like, well, that's true.
It's
They
unreal.
can't.
No.
That's
Great
like
album
an
title.
entire
Undeniable.
population of Western culture,
use
of
that.
Western society. And so, and then his performance and his everything. He had
Everything.
this.
And you played Tiny
Love
Elvis.
Elvis. Oh, you
Yeah,
played Tiny
right.
Elvis.
So I would literally just sing Elvis songs and try to get his moves and stuff. And
Can you? I know
Because
you're
and
kind of
it's me and
shy.
Tiny Elvis.
Give me a little bit. Get on the mic.
Hold me close, hold me tight, make me thrill with delight. Let me know where I stand from the start. I want you, I need you, I love you. Well, and then he would do this.
Oh my
God! He would, So he was just like
Killer.
He dug deep for that. That was a
would-
gem.
That
Would
was
lose their, and
They go crazy.
They would go nuts.
They go crazy when you would sing. You do Now or Never. I remember watching.
And I did that at high school, and after practice, and then it just murdered so hard
Oh, yeah.
that it was like, that was it.
Can I say one thing right here? You kind of around in here, you look like Elvis. You have a little bit of an
little
Elvis
bit, yeah.
It's a
overlap
little
with
bit
your
of
cheeks
something.
Yeah.
and your mouth.
Thank you. It's a little something that kind of worked. So when I
Yeah.
put the fake sideburns on and,
Yeah.
and I had the jumpsuit on, even at 115 pounds, my wrestling weight,
And they called you Tiny Elvis?
and then it was Tiny Elvis.
When you went- but
and
you
then I
went
did it,
to-
and it murdered because people. It was
Yeah.
a really good performance. The difference is a really good impression performed really well. Seriously,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That commitment to it. It's just like when Napoleon Dynamite. That dance he does is really funny, but he's really committing to it, and it's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So that's the combination of stuff, and then it just naturally. If you're naturally funny, then people are like laughing at
But
it.
when you went to Japan to do Elvis for a couple of
That
months,
was a complete.
Yeah.
But were you playing? You were playing a serious Elvis. Were you adding jokes?
I wasn't.
or
I mean, first of all, I got the phone call, and that's the time I was living in an apartment.
is unreal.
$200 a month. $200 a month. Basically, what happened
That's
was
it?
I was living in a place and it was just a hole in the wall. But what happened was Milt Abel, the comedian from San Francisco.
I wrote his name down. I wrote down Milt Abel because I
Great
wanted to give
guy.
some props to our...
and he's an awesome guy, really good
Pitta.
comedian. He had jokes that I remember to this day. Like, somebody tries to hand you a flyer and they go, no, you throw it away. And it's just that little good
Yeah,
little
yeah.
one-liner. I wish I would have thought of
great
that.
comic.
And
Yeah.
so I moved into this place. He said, it's $200 a month, blah, blah, blah. The first month I was in there, the 85-year-old Russian landlord who owned the place. He said, "Should I not?" And then I had one bulb.
Can we hear the landlord?
That's going to be funny
This
already.
is the old guy who owns the place and he lives there. And it's a shithole. The whole place is like been painted once in the
Shithole is
50s.
my
But I don't
greatest
need it. I just literally put a mattress in there, just the one mattress, and then this is it. And I'm just going to do stand up and write coffee. It was right down the street from Fillmore, his coffee shop. This is perfect. So I paid it. He said only takes cash. So $200, perfect. And then I remember like I only had one light, and it was like a 30-foot ceiling. Because you know what those old places are subdivided, and there used to be an old giant Victorian in the day, and then they turn it into like 13 apartments or whatever.
Yeah.
And so the one bulb that was at the ceiling, the one light that I had, I didn't even have a lamp. It went out. And I was like, well, I got to have that. I have my one light.
You need a light. Yeah.
I got to have a light. So I don't know where to go. And Milt's asleep. And I said, well, I knock on the guy's door, the landlord. And I go, well, the light's out. What I do? Okay, I'm going to have to get down and get the ladder. I got downstairs to get the ladder. I come up. And then he came up. And you just, I'm just this dummy because it's like I'm watching and then I realized I'm watching an 85-year-old man on a 20-foot ladder climbing up to change the light bulb, and I was like, and I'm watching, and then I thought, well, he's already up there. Let him just get it
now.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
he's
can spot him.
And he comes down and said, I don't feel so good. I don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I've never felt like this. I'm like,
really?
I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. He's a week later, he's dead.
Oh my God.
Died a week later, and the thing was though, that he had no living relatives and anything, and so nobody was asking for rent. So all of a sudden, I went from $200 a month to nothing.
To zero.
I had nothing. So I was living in a place for rent free.
Did you push him off your floor at all?
I think I changing the light may have killed him. I don't know, but I did realize I should not have an 85-year-old guy changing the bulb.
It's weekend at
But anyway,
Bernie's.
so
Okay, the landlord dies. And how does this lead to Japan?
Yeah.
so what happened was I get a phone call from
Another funny voice.
Mark. Mark. This Mark,
Funny voice
the
McGee.
Filipino community, whether you're half Filipino or whatever,
right.
there's a small community of people, and they try to because they know that the Filipinos, they'll work hard and they'll show up because otherwise you've been
Great nurses.
You do
Yes.
work hard.
Great
They'll
nurses.
beat the shit out of you. It's been beat into you. You better work hard. You better show up. If you say this, you got to do this. And all right. And so you can depend on Filipinos. Like at the end of the day, like if you do get a Filipino to come over to your house while you're moving, they'll move till they're all day.
Great.
And if you have somebody like they'll take your blood pressure. They'll do the whole
mark
thing.
that down.
So I get a call from him, and he says, "Hey, listen." You do Elvis, right? And it's like he's calling me at 9 a.m, which
Some
I just went to sleep at
middleman.
like 4.
You do Elvis,
You,
right?
you sing Elvis, right? He said,
good.
'cause He saw me do the Elvis and knew about it in high school. And so I said, yeah. I said, do you know the songs? I said, I know a couple, like 3. So why? He said, well, we just lost our Elvis impersonator. And I said, what do you mean you lost your? Well, they're in Japan. They were sending a band for a new club that's opening. And he said, can you go to Japan to do Elvis? And I said, listen, I only know like 3 songs. And it's not really serious, And I don't really.
You sound like him.
So I called Bob Fisher, and Bob says, do it. You'll tell the story on Letterman one day. And so, I called Mark, and I realized I don't even have a passport. I've never I think I left the country when I was a little like 13 with my parents.
I wouldn't
One
have
of those cheapy European tours where you go on a bus and they take you to the worst hotels in all of Europe. So that was it. So I had to I said, I don't have a passport. I can't go.
Can you use the dead Russian landlord's passport? I'm just saying, in a drawer, I think, where's this going?
So
Okay.
he said, just go to this Japanese woman. She's just go to Japantown, and she'll take care of they can take care of it. The Japanese, if they want to get something done, they get it done.
How are the Irish?
They conquered. They basically took all of Asia in a month, and so they'll do this. So I go over there, and she looks at me, and she goes, his name wasn't Mark. It was Alex. I'm sorry, Alex Howergy was his name. She looked at me when I walked in. She with a fright in her eyes, and like, oh no, I never trust Alex again.
Because you're the Elvis?
Because it's like I'm this short guy coming to be an Elvis, And
But you had puffy hair. You had like Elvis.
Yeah, so, and I said to her right there, again, my stand-up experience after doing it for a couple of years, I said, no, I can do this. I'd be all right. I can do it. And they had no alternative. They had nobody
it's like
else.
A movie.
And so literally it's like a Friday, and I got to fly Sunday to do this for the next week. And so the next thing I go, I'll just do it. It'll be fun. And I get on the plane, and I start going over these songs and stuff, and we're like, I don't really know this. And
Rich
then
now or never.
Alex is like, hey, listen, just where you're going, Kumamoto is like the Alabama of Japan. They don't speak English. Just do the same verse over and over again. They're not going to know the difference. So I said, all right, I'll just do that. But then I realized, no, you can't just do that. These are Elvis fans.
Yeah.
Even if they don't speak English, they're going to know.
Teleprompter, cue cards.
Yeah, this is way before any of that stuff for me. So anyway, on the way over there, I start getting a little bit nervous about it. And I go, I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, what the big deal? It's just Japan. And like, well, I'm never going to come back to this place. I land there. There's a bus that picks us up, a bus with posters all over the bus that says Elvis New Kennedy House, anything Japanese, like anything the Japanese loved any American words like Kennedy, Elvis, Nixon, whatever they had. Nixon, Elvis,
Barry
Kennedy House. So Goldwater. So then we get on the bus and they drive us straight to go see the Kazu guy, which is like a mobster guy, and he looks at me too.
Kaza guy?
Kazu or what? It was just a Japanese.
Okay.
For mobster.
He's the guy in charge. Whatever. He's like the guy.
Fuck that.
And so he looks at me and says, "You sing now. You sing." No, you Elvis? And he looked at me. You sing. You sing now.
He's got a funny voice too.
You sing. You sing now.
He's got hitmen around him and everything.
He just looked like a dangerous little guy.
So what
around
did you
So
do?
he made me sing right there. He took us out to eat.
Acapella?
And he made me sing. He made me like go to the place. And I said, I'm going to have some time. He took literally after we ate, he took me to the club and I said, okay, I got some time because the club's not done. It's like the walls aren't there, the floor's not.
Did you have one go-to Elvis song
Huh?
Did you have one go-to Elvis song that you did in your acting? Like Now or Never used to do?
Yes. It's like a hound dog or blue suede shoes. But so anyway, we go to the place. It's not done. I said, I'm going to have time to learn these songs because the floor is not in. There's no way it's going to open tonight. But the thing is in Japan, if you're not done, they make you pay. If you're a construction, whatever company,
really?
they make you pay for every hour you're late. You pay
that's not
fines.
happening here.
So they did finish it that night. And then the problem was it was 3 shows that night.
Fuck off.
And 4 on weekends. After the first show, the first night, I blow my voice out. I said, I can't do this. And I go running into the sushi place, which is every restaurant there, and just start just shoving down
Go to 7-Eleven, eat sushi.
ginger, and just I get through the second show, and then the third show, I don't know how I survived it. I said, I never got to do it again. I'm like this the next day, and I don't know how I'm going to do it again.
Did you kill?
And it was good. It was okay. There was enough people on the weekends.
Is
It
there
was
a little
packed.
band or karaoke?
We had they flew me over with a band.
A
and
little
everything.
band's playing.
But anyway, by like, and I said, well, you got to figure it out. And then, but it was, and sure enough, I did do the, I did my first Letterman appearance was I did. He said, so you were Elvis in Japan. What was that like? And then, so he did ask me a question. I didn't have a really good.
It's still funny because you did Elvis on a Fish Hook on your first set, right?
Yeah, that was
going full circle. So that Elvis was really, and then Elvis on a Fish Hook was just one of those quick hit.
But I could do a really good Elvis, so that would it help. Oh, wow, hey, I know what it was like. I don't know. Maybe I said now I would just introduce just at that time, if you did odd stuff, unconnected, it was kind of interesting. That was like a style at that time. Yeah. It's like, and now I'd like to do my impression of Elvis on a fish hook. And on a fish hook. And I go, Sonny Red, I don't know. I'll maybe come back here one of these days and get some, and I would do that. And I go back and forth.
His lip curls up and he tilts his head and lifts up like
you got to laugh. But that was the thing that, when I did that at that set that we did, and
auditioning for SNL probably.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things that you got a big laugh. It was interesting. And Lauren said later, when I if I see something brilliant, I know that there's the potential to repeat it. Yeah. And I said, am I hired? And I guess that was the way of being hired.
Just that Elvis on a Fish Hook will be like a runner. I don't know if it's a talk show. You talk to Jim Downey.
Well, you also used to do reading from Elvis. Actually, your act was very unique. When you say, you just said a little bit ago, you go, I should try not to have the material like everyone else. That wasn't my motto, but you did because you actually did that. You also did reading from The first time I met Elvis. Elvis and Me with Priscilla was funny.
An impression, if you're not good at it, just doing something that's completely not good at all
nuts,
is also works.
Who was that?
That was Priscilla.
That's Priscilla. And now
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
I read the book. Priscilla Presley wrote a book
then you
called
just
Elvis and Me. And I swear to God, when I was reading it, I started reading it out loud to people, and they were just howling,
just so
laughing.
funny.
So maybe
what
I
was
could
the
do it on
voice you used
stage.
for Priscilla?
It was, I would just talk like this, which is a kind of like a version of like my mother.
Yeah.
My mother also, she would never, she
was
didn't
very
understand.
flat. Yeah.
Her
First
mother
time
from
I met
Baguio,
Elvis.
which is like the mountains of the Philippines. She wouldn't understand jokes, but she would understand how to laugh at the right time. She'd go,
Your mom.
Marvin,
Very
what does
sweet.
it mean? What does it mean? I don't understand.
You know, when he said, he goes, when you were, one of your jokes was, I'll mangle it. When you were a little kid, when you were 8 years old, you banged your head on the coffee table and your mom would make you feel good and she'd go hit it and she goes, bad coffee table, bad. And she goes, and you'd feel better. And she goes, we make it even, bad coffee table, and hit it. And then you go to bed and your dad wakes you up at 2 a.m. and goes, hey, Rob, get on down here. Your mom spilled hot wax on the coffee table. We got to make it even. You know our policy.
Oh, yeah.
So then you have to have hot wax filled
he's
on
got
you.
4 hot wax.
Yeah, that was the idea, yeah.
They got to make it even.
But I remember, like, if I did that, you know, when you do a character, it's like you can do your jokes and you get it, but when you do a character, it's just another.
Also, in the middle of the joke, you're playing
and also
people.
you had a musicality too. You had a rhythmic
Very good
musicality from the
singer.
early days, and we're hearing it
Thank
now,
you.
which is also, I like the whole is greater than the sum of the parts of musical rhythms.
Oh,
like
yeah.
getting copy. What was? How do you hit that? It was just so infectious. Making copy, like that.
There's a musicality
Yeah.
to it.
Yes.
And it sings. It's got to
It's
sing.
like it's a song.
How did you?
Yeah,
now
no,
let's get to that part. Rob and I fast forward. We get hired on SNL. We auditioned at Catch Rising Star, I think.
Well, the first one we did at the Melrose.
Okay.
And then, like, the
We made the
scariest
cut.
part was, like, at that time, I kind of had, like, a little bit of a fuck you attitude in a good way, because you have to, because otherwise you get beaten down.
You're
So it's
too
like- and I said, you know what? And then I got the call from Bernie. You know, Lauren, he managed to put extra syllables in that one. Lauren wants to meet you. And I said, well, he'll want, Bob,
Was
Robert
Stallone
Smigel.
his son?
Stallone, Smigel did a funny thing where he just like, it was just, you take it so exaggerated, and
Yeah.
Robert was like, let me eat your foot. I don't know how it got there, but his Bernie impression was, I want to eat your foot. And
Bernie was a heavy guy.
obviously
He's
not
like Santa Claus.
knows anything. That's the thing he told me the first day.
Yeah.
No one fucking knows anything in this business. And later on, Brad Gray said, I told him, why is he saying that? Because it's like, give me 15% of
Yeah,
that
you don't-
gross
you
thing.
don't even-
I don't know fucking nothing. Now give me a check.
So the next day he said, Lauren wants to meet you. Lauren. And I said, well, I got a gig in San Diego. And I said, he knows. I'm middling. I get a gig in San Diego, and he said he'll know what it's like. If you have a job, he'll respect it, and and he said if he wants to meet me, fly me to New York, and that was very. And I just said that in the morning as I'm driving down to San Diego. I have the cold sweats, and I literally I just fucked up everything.
Yeah,
Why didn't
for
I meet?
sure.
And I really had. But at the back of my mind, it was the right thing, and the only person he flew out of all those people who auditioned was me to New York to meet
You
them.
flew over me while I was driving.
David was, he was getting ready to move furniture because he had to go back and
And
forth
they
every
hired
summer.
us as a writing team.
I remember you guys coming in like freaking
Yeah,
frack.
it was a weird scene.
Bernie
I was
said
not-
They're a writing team. You got to hire them both.
I was not aware that I didn't want to. First of all, I didn't want to be a writer. I wanted to write but be a performer, and that was hard. And that's what I was saying about Copy Machine. We did those 4 shows. Even Dennis said, "Spudley, you don't get anything on. I think it's curtains." I'm like, and it was only fucking 4 shows. I go, there's no fucking chance. I did get a Michael J. Fox on the Dice Clay show, and Kenny Among, who I love, says, David, I forgot to put you at the beginning. I go, what does that mean? He goes, I didn't put your card up where it says featuring David Spade. And I go, it wasn't there? And he goes, yeah, so no one knew who you were. And I go, God damn, one shot.
It's a tradition on the podcast. Just 10 seconds of Michael J. Fox, Casualties of War.
Sarge. Actually, I just give you one.
Do it for Rob.
No, you're down to
10
one
seconds.
syllable. He's seen it too many times.
Oh,
so I do Michael J. Fox, and then we have the summer off,
listeners.
and then Rob and I get hired back.
Yeah, which
They
was-
always wait a while.
It was a little touch and go because we didn't get anything on. But I remember
Yeah.
I would do anything. Like they
shows.
said, write promos, which is like that. Why are they letting me write promos? I've never written a promo in my life. So this is awesome.
Fucking
and
jury
you realize
duty.
no one wants to write the promos.
Yeah.
And so I went in. They said, and Lauren was. I mean, I was just blown away by the fact that Lauren would even talk to me. And then he said, and you have to write it. You'll write promos. And then
No
he turned
explanation
English
either. You just got to
right there.
figure it out.
So I went in, and Deborah Winger was the host.
Deborah Winger. I remember her.
And I went in, and Jack Handy wrote a great sketch with her, even though she was very fragile. I walk into her dressing room, and she's there sitting with Lauren on the floor. And she's literally crying, going, I can't believe you talked me into doing this. I'm not good. I can't. And I was just like, whoa, is this like this every week?
Yes.
Wow. I would have gone in Travolta, for her, like from what that Western, was that?
Urban Cowboy, go ahead.
Like, I kind of think I might be falling in love with you or something like that. Sorry.
See, that was the thing about Dana too, is that he would hit the, in his stand up too. He's like the turns he would make.
Yeah.
By the time he would be like a NASCAR racer, a driver, and all of a sudden, and by the end of his routine, because he would do the stuff, but then he would pummel the audience. It was like a boom, 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 and by the end, he would go from one impression to another impression, and then the impressions are talking to each other, and the audience can't breathe. It was literally like a meditative thing for that.
Jeez,
I said, holy shit.
I'm going to listen to this
Robbie,
podcast.
so
That's very nice, Rob.
But that is
We
what
can cut all that
that
out.
was the influence for me.
David wants to make an edit now. Just
No, I'm just anything about Dana we're going to take out. But
Pumela.
Rob, when we were at, I think those 4 shows.
I just got to use the restroom real quick. I said, can I use it real quick?
Yeah.
Just once.
Yeah, go through the back room.
Dana, you
No,
started
well-
stand-up. Oh. Rob's going to go away. We don't have to stop it. We can just wait, right? Keep going. Oh, we keep going? He's so
Rob's
weird.
using the restroom.
I know.
That's really smart.
Talk about Deuce Bigelow.
What does that mean? Like
He's taking
gonna,
it too.
Like he's going to unload?
Yeah, he's got
He's getting the unload chamber.
There's a bathroom right here too. Do you know that you don't have to go in the back bedroom? There's a bath. I just never knew if you.
I guess
Where did you go?
I went to the very back.
That's Dana's bathroom. You
You're
can
not
do
going
whatever one you want. I
again.
just wanted to let you know, and we're hanging a mirror in there so you can even.
You can watch yourself.
It's just either one.
Audio
It doesn't
only
matter which one you
podcast.
use.
No, it's right by the grocery store. If you go through this hall, there's a little mini Ralph's. It's a pop-up. You go through that.
Sorry, Sarge.
Hey, Sarge.
Hey, Sarge. I got it. It's Casey Kasem. I got to do it. Hey, Sarge.
I have to get a new one, dude.
We don't have that many runners. That's just a great runner.
That's a great runner.
No
You
one
got
gets
one.
tired of it.
You know what Nikki Glazer said about your set the other night, that you should do more of that Bill Gates bit, and
On the island.
yeah, it was funny.
I was just
and do more Clinton.
It was
Oh, you see those pictures? I got them for you.
bailing because I was just doing concepts. I was bailing because a lot. You know?
But they were so excited.
The pictures and the videos I saw made it look like it was like the best show.
I did keep some of those pictures to
Well, I
send
did
you.
get a standing ovation, but to me, that's not good enough. No, it's because I did Chopping Broccoli on the piano where I wrote Chopping
Yes.
Broccoli. Yeah.
You did a standing ovation, but they found out that guy worked there.
Ding, ding. You came up, and I knew on the way out, all I heard was roaring.
Well, what happened was the other night, if we're still on,
crushing.
is that Dana came down to do the improv the other night, and he's hosting a show coming up, so he's
I hadn't
practicing.
done stand up in 3 years in a club.
3 years in a club. We put him as a special guest, and then I went after him. But went up, great, read some stuff off a notepad. Everyone was enchanted. Funny premises, big laughs, closes hard. And then I went up, but everyone was like, psst, psst, Dana. So
Well,
they were
that's
all
good
excited.
if she liked that. I like the premise of Bill Gates on, Epstein's Island
Yeah.
being awkward.
Yeah, it was
Hey,
good.
what are you doing here? I'm just putting on sunscreen. We're gonna go by the pool. You want to go? Hey guys, Rob is still in the bathroom, and I know that's exciting news. But
Let's roll that videotape.
part 2. Well, he's in the bathroom doing part 1. If he does part 2, we'll let you know. But right now, I'm here to say that on Friday, part 2 of Rob Schneider's epic appearance on Fly on the Wall.
After the bathroom.
will
Let's look at a
drop.
clip.
Yeah.
This has been a podcast presentation of Cadence 13. Please listen, then rate, review, and follow all episodes. Available now for free wherever you get your podcast.
No joke, folks. Fly on the Wall has been a presentation of Cadence 13, executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Chris Corcoran of Cadence 13, and Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment.
The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman, with production and engineering support from Serena Regan and Chris Basil of Cadence 13. Well, we got Neil Brennan today, Dana, and before we start, I wanted to say our YouTube for Superfly got to 100,000 subscribers. That's nice. Applause, applause.
Wow, here we go.
And a lot of nice comments. People are seeing the clips and they go over to watch it on YouTube, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. You
Or
know,
audio.
we have a known big fan of Superfly.
Who's that?
Joe Biden. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Oh.
It's the flies. It's like a fly, but super fly away. It's because of the David Spade, Dan Carney. I can't believe it's not butter.
Oh, that's nice that he said that.
Yeah.
And we
We're
got
doing an ad
Neil
for-
Brennan today on Fly on the Wall. And Neil's an old buddy, spoken stand-up, has a special out right now. He's had him out before. A lot of fun to talk to and a very sharp mind.
Yeah, very thoughtful person about the human experience. He has a podcast called Blocks. We can promote that. His podcast is about people who have mental health things they may not be aware of. He has comedians on and talks through stuff. So he's very interesting to talk to, just about life in general. Very bright guy and has a new Netflix special.
He's got a new Netflix special out right now. He'll tell you all about it. And I have a blast talking to him. I live near him, so I see him out. But he's, part of the Chappelle situation, the Chappelle show, co-created that.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone on to do a lot of things. He writes for a lot of people. So
He kind of knows everybody. I think it's because he is so open, about what he's thinking and what he's feeling. And for this particular episode, he'll talk about how he dealt with his depression and how it got lifted with different, a method that you will find very, very interesting. That's made him a much more content person.
I'm pretty tight about my craziness. So I haven't been on Blocks, but I will one day unveil my craziness to everyone.
I'm doing a side podcast just called Blocks, and it's literal blocks that you play with on the floor. So it's me with Lego.
I could do that one.
And a guest. The guest and I just build a little Lego village as we chat.
Oh, that's nice. Until that airs, here's Neil Brennan with Fly on the Wall. Let's talk.
I got carded legally by an English-speaking person wearing a baseball cap at age 53.
What? Do we brag about the last time we got carded? Is this a segment on?
We do this with you have Blocks, you have your thing. This is our thing.
Yeah.
Last time no.
I got carded in Thailand trying to buy a ladyboy when I was. I'm kidding.
Not old
Neil.
enough.
So Neil, we're just
Guys, hold on. Let me switch headphones.
Yeah.
have we ever run into each other? Or are we meeting right now?
No, we have run into each other
Just really
at
quickly.
the John Lovitz Comedy Club.
In the Universal City?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yes. And that's what I thought. And so
I hope there's not another one. Is there another one?
The chain. It didn't turn into a chain as quickly as we thought.
I don't want to, John's a friend, but as a comedian, you're kind of like, oh, it's at Universal Studios. So you park in Jurassic Park. You got to walk a quarter mile. You go in, it's built for blues. There's a 3-tier thing. So people on the top level are looking down at the top of your head and talking amongst themselves. And the stage is really high.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of surfboards, right? Because Lovitz loves surfing.
That was his theme. Maybe it was left over from BB King, but yeah, John.
Well,
if you're listening,
BB King, another avid surfer. He was getting out every morning at 5:30.
Remarkably, very funny. Very funny.
He had a good patter in between, like a
really good patter. And would remember like narratives between. He'd come back up and be like, "How's your date going?" He knew, you know what I mean?
He did crowd stuff.
Yeah, knew how to do it.
Wait, let's keep talking about the Universal Gangplex. 18 theaters. I used to go to those theaters, because and also if you did the John Lovitz Comedy Club, after you'd walk through or swim through the Jaws theme to get there, you could get 10% off at Tony Roma's across the street.
Yeah, you absolutely could.
You absolutely
Your
could.
primary
No,
audience that was available with North Hollywood gangs that would just kind of infiltrate the
Yeah.
mall. That was the audience you were drawing from. Other than that, it had good sound. John was very nice. They had good snacks. Trying to think of something.
And
positive.
they love be like, hey, Garth, what's up, Garth? It's Garth.
Garth.
Hey, you are Garth, right?
Well,
Hey, maybe you know what
they
this is?
sound
Maybe
Canadian.
this is Garth.
Yeah, Garth. I
Act
know.
like Garth for a minute.
That's the thing, and it's a good problem to have. But if I try to do stand up in a traditional setting, say, I can feel the audience. I guess the only thing worse than not having hits is having hits. I don't know what the word is, but they want me to do the characters they saw on SNL. So, to our guest today, Neil Brennan, do you feel like, do you have classic bits that people yell out for at this point? Three mics. Do it.
No, I know, but no. What's
Yeah.
funny is on the newest tour for the one that's out for Crazy Good, the new Netflix that we're all
Mhm.
talking about.
I saw
it.
Talking about.
We're
Is
gonna
that
talk.
true? You saw it? Great.
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
I wouldn't have
Anyhow.
you on. Yeah.
So,
it's great. It's great special.
So thank you.
We'll talk,
Thank
we're
you,
going to
thank
talk
you.
about some of
yeah,
the.
no. Yes.
Well, you did some
I'm
stuff I
assuming-
haven't seen before. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
I thought was
So
very cool.
we're I'm assuming this will be in the podcast. We're three guys.
Some of this will,
podcasting,
yeah.
right?
All of
Okay,
it's
great.
on.
The parts for you guys shine. Fantastic.
Mhm.
So I do a show. This basically the act that's on Netflix, and a guy DMs me afterward and is like, dude, it was my birthday. I paid $150 for whatever. I kept waiting for you to show up. Basically, he was upset that I wasn't sadder. He wanted me to be
Oh.
sad like I'd been in Three Mics and Blocks and most of my life. And I wasn't sad enough.
I'm
So
sad that you're not sad.
No, I know it's a party's missing, and we're
I
wanna
hate
go
that you
back-
fix things.
I want to go back
Yeah.
and watch just stylistically, or the way your shoulders are, just your physicality. It felt like it was Neil, but you say up front, "I feel good." It's almost like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, I can't."
Boo.
So I could do 2 hours on this. I know you are very aware of psychology and emotion. So for our audience who doesn't know, you've famously been dealing with depression and having this
Yes.
having this extremely successful career in comedy and stand-up. So
Yes.
that's kind of almost illogical in a way, but
No one
but
understands that.
somehow you made it through that, but then something happened. I've only read your Wikipedia page. So tell us, how did you get less sad or kind of happy?
I got less sad in a very sort of risky way, which is ayahuasca, DMT, and MDMA.
So
Now I
most
will.
of the alphabet.
Yeah, thank you. I got into ayahuasca because our mutual friend Chris Rock sent me an article from the New York Times about ayahuasca and was like, "We got to do this." Which is,
Read
you're
this.
old. You know you're old when you get your drug ideas from the New York Times.
Your drug idea.
Right, Rock's like, "We got to do
Did
this."
Rock do it too?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Oh, that explains a lot.
No, I wouldn't think that Rock would do that. That doesn't seem like. Well, he's very
He's talked
open-minded to
about
a
it.
lot of stuff.
No, he's talked about it in public. I mean, he talked
Mhm.
about it on like James Corden. I know he talked about it a few times, but yeah, we did it together, and it was pretty. We did it together twice, and it was pretty wild.
I know
And
he
it
likes
kinda-
diarrhea.
No, he loves diarrhea and loves puking, but and it's sort of both his closers, he calls them. And so we did it together twice, and I kept doing it. But he's only I don't know if he's done it recently, but
Did you
I've
like
done it.
Ron White? Did you guys go to a place or just do it in your
We
living room?
didn't. Yeah, Ron White went to a place. Me and Rock did it. Spade, we actually did it maybe at your old. Remember when Rock was renting a place in Malibu?
Mm-hmm.
Like 2 years ago or during COVID, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been your old place, Spade.
Oh.
That you shared with Lovitz and Ted Sarando's spot?
Yeah.
No, that was Lovitz
that was
lived
something else.
right next to Gervitz. Oh, Lovitz and Gervitz.
Yeah, they shared
lived
it.
next to, I don't know, but that was the same beach. Go ahead.
I just want to know, set the scene when you.
Yeah, set the scene.
Hey, Chris, he walks into the place, or what? I want to hear the detail.
I mean, yeah, now I feel like I'm telling his. All right, so
Oh,
he
you
had
know,
a
if
place.
it's personal,
No,
yeah.
I don't. It's his. I don't get. He's talked about enough that
It's not
like,
that.
I
It's
don't,
not illicit. It's in the ether.
Just
No,
tell
exactly.
yours. Like,
Yeah.
what is it? You go in there and you have a helper, or you guys?
It was a guy. I got a private. A guy came.
Mhm.
And he was like a white guy, and Rock was like little Starbucksy. It was because
So he's still funny until the stuff.
Yeah, no, you're still
Yeah.
right. It wasn't even, we hadn't even done it yet. So then me, Rock, and then a few friends, maybe 3 or 4 friends of mine, did it in the place Rock was renting, and it took maybe 4 or 5 hours, and it was just a very strong. Have you guys done mushrooms?
I have done mushrooms, but only in my 20s.
Yeah, it's like mushroom. I remember comparing it to mushrooms, and at one point being like, wow, like this is like mushrooms times like 100 in terms of intensity, in terms of like what it could do. So and then we did it again at another place that was more, it was still in LA, but we did it. It was like me and Rock and 25 white, like crunchy white people.
Crunchy white people.
Soho House?
Now you've got this Rock's next special. Crunchy white people.
Yeah, it was like very crunchy white people, and that was and I would say that you would have to ask him about it, but I will say I saw Rock get his ass whooped by the ayahuasca in a good way. He got like, it was wild.
The second time.
Yeah, the second time.
And
So-
I have a question.
Like 15 times since.
I did mushrooms, Dane. I did acid once. This is a while back. This is last Friday. I did acid when I was probably late teens, and I did mushrooms back then. It was the kind, you get in a baggie, you buy from whoever, and then you just eat the stems, and you think they're not working, and then you start sort of hallucinating. And so I was okay with that, but I had to be with other shroomers, my friends, because we were walking on the beach to a party, and when we were around people that weren't on it, we could not relate at all. We ran back to each other. So my experience was, I don't do them later in life because I get scared of getting out of control. Like back then, I had nothing to live for. I had nothing going on. It was just like drug me up just for fun. I think I'd be scared now is the point. I think I'd be scared to get like out of my head a bit and be around people, even though you're friends, that would help. But I don't know. It'd be a little scary for me.
Yeah, were you?
But was it scary at all?
Were you nervous a little bit?
I don't. Well,
time?
the thing of it is, I don't do. It's like once you take it out of like a party setting, it can be just different. It'll just be like a different. It becomes like, not to be pretentious, but like it just becomes more like ceremonial or something.
Mhm.
So I used to do. As you're telling me this, I remember I did mushrooms with Norm, Saget, Brewer, and Chappelle one time. I like forgot about it until you were just talking. Like,
It's a fun group.
it was, we were at like the Mondrian at the Sky Bar. It was like probably 1999 or something. And it was just too much energy. So yeah. So if you're gonna do it, try to do it like away from people.
And what does it get you after? So you come out of it, you go.
It like resets it affects your neurons. Like there's a thing called neuroplasticity, etc.
Mhm.
And ayahuasca in particular grows new neurons. It's the only substance on earth that can do it, that they found.
Mine are
You will
dead.
grow new neurons.
Yeah.
So you grow new ones, and it's like it changes your brain, kind of. But having said that, it's can also be like very. I've seen people get possessed. I've seen wild stuff. So
Did you get what are you eating? Sorry, is it like a pill or is it vegetables or what are you eating?
it's
Yeah.
actually a tea. It's a tea.
Tea. Okay.
It,
And
it tastes like espresso.
And are you getting you just feel nauseous in the beginning, kind of like mushrooms did, or
I've only gotten, you get a little nauseous. I will say Rock generally has puked both times. I haven't. I puked
I'm
once,
not
but
embarrassed.
I drank too much. So what, Neil?
So what? Good for me.
Yeah, I puked. So yeah, so it's a little crazy, but it was effective for me. But I can't say like do it, everybody. It's like
Right.
it can go a lot of different ways. I did it a lot in 2020 and 2021, and this past year I've done MDMA 4 or 5 times, and that's been helpful in a different way.
why is it different? Which one's for which?
MDMA is Molly, ecstasy. You ever do that, Dana?
No.
All right. I feel like a bully. You ever do it? And
Nerd.
Yeah. That I just, it's like, that's changed me. Also, it's open, you know what? I'm going to be honest. It's opened my heart a little bit, guys.
Okay.
So
I understand.
That's a good reason.
Good place
That's a
to
good-
be
Yeah.
rather than hardened
Yeah.
and cynical and being
Correct.
just organically empathetic
Yes.
to people and wanting to
Which
be nice.
I think, Dana,
Yeah.
you are generally, you seem very you've always struck me as very empathetic.
I don't know. My wife and I saw across at our breakfast table, took a test, personality test, 10 different
Uh-huh.
types. Okay, blink, just do the question. And then what'd you come out as? Helper. What'd you come out as? Helper. It can be toxic in the extreme, but yeah, my wife and I are very much like after you. People ask me, how did you navigate the Game of Thrones of Saturday Night Live? You know, because wouldn't you like, hey, you can do that part, but it's not to that level. I also have a competitive streak, but I'm working on that
heard-
too. You know, so
The late great Warren Thomas told me a story about you in the 90s. And he said that
I remember.
Dana one time said that he wants the audience to die from laughing at him. You want to kill so hard, people die.
Well, I would say to people that I was in that scene in the late 70s, early 80s, and Robin Williams was there briefly and then gone. And then he would come back as a star, Mork and Mindy, and he would create a small seismic event. And I was naive. I just thought, I guess that's where you want to try to get to that if you can.
The most impossible
What do
guy.
you think the hardest you've ever killed is, Dana?
Yeah,
and
Dana.
Spade, I want to hear you as well.
Okay, I'll think about it.
Oh boy, that goes back a long time. I would say for me,
In anything, in a sketch,
I would say in the early 80s when I was really doing a lot of stand-up. I had done these goofy pilots and TV shows. And then I was working at this place called The Other Cafe, which Paula Poundstone went, and a lot of people, 70-seater, 60-seater with a big window. And that's where I got so confident doing 8 shows a week that the late shows, I would literally just kind of go with what I wanted to do. And I had so much confidence. I was crushing in that room. And the reason is because I was always a sketch player, but didn't know it. There was no groundlings up there. So I was always trying to do characters in sketch. So in this 60-seater, where there was no hard liquor, was really helpful. In the Haight-Ashbury, where I met my wife, by the way. Those are the best sets I've ever had. Different kind of stand-up. Then
were you doing like what were you doing like Chop and Broccoli?
Chop and Broccoli came from there. Church Lady came from there.
I can only imagine how hard Chop and Broccoli must have killed in a
CB.
60-seater. CB, as it's known, CB.
Well-
Thank you for helping this podcast. Spade.
I know, I'm helping.
So I would just say that, and then what happens is you go on Saturday Night Live and you're not doing as much stand-up. And then they're offering you enormous amounts of money to play enormous rooms, but you're never really in the shape that you should or could be in. So your act gets worse and the money gets bigger. But you're famous, so you're riding waves and going to your hooks. But that was the best I ever was for my headspace. And if I do shoot another special, I would have to do it in a 50-seater. That's a tight space, but it's not popular to do that. What your theater? How big was that one?
Fonda, it's probably 800-900.
So it felt very intimate.
Oh,
so.
Fonda on
Sunset.
So David, that's my story. Neil,
David, Spade, when were you crushing the hardest?
I feel like it's any time I'm doing stand-up where they're not filming it for Netflix. And then when they film a special, something happens where the crowd goes, I'm paying to see you. But it just goes back to the joke of whenever most people film a special, it's not their best night on stage.
This was my Netflix that just came out was the 2 worst shows of the whole tour.
See, I'm telling you, it's true. Dana agrees. It's something about it.
I had
just
the
never...
same thing. There was a technical issue on Friday night. So that got to throw that out. So you work on it for 6 months and you got one shot and the audience sees the cameras and the lights. And so it's hard that's why Sandler's special, because he did it all over the place. And you're watching a special and the guy doesn't know he's doing a special. So Sandler didn't know if he was going to use all that. And so that was awesome because it was just he wasn't doing a special. But really, that was your worst set because it felt pretty
no,
good.
It was. I know it was still very good. Yeah. But it was like, and then the thing happens where you're like, you're pissed and you can't be pissed.
Yeah.
There's like a party that's like, oh, these motherfuckers.
You paid to see me. Yeah, that's so funny. I'm having a tough set on my special night when they paid to see me. It's not like you popped in at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
I want to introduce a psychological problem based on this and not being able to shoot it 20 times. And it's not a good place to be in. Like if you have the exact same set, cameras are gone, it's just gone, it's Saturday night, and it's a little tight, whatever. At least for me, I might step outside the lines, do a little crowd work, switch up my set, try to work what's been given to me. But when you're out there and you're doing your set and it doesn't help me to be in this linear thing. I feel like it's homework. I have to get to these bits as opposed to I got a lot of bits in my quiver and I'm just out here tonight. So that's another thing to get quiver.
I like that.
Whoops, there's more arrows. Here's some chopped broccoli. Oh, be careful. The church lady may make an appearance. But that's why I want it to be like that on Oscar. Hello.
Yeah.
Besides
me and Spade don't do crowd work. Were there any other suggestions?
I don't really do it either. I don't really do it either, but in a small room, you can really have a conversation a little bit. Should we go on to stand? I'm still just curious how you're happier.
Ask, I can do an hour. I'll go however you guys want. Just cut it down. I don't
because happiness is such an elusive word. I'm not, and you're just saying you're better. I'm not I'm still like the joke engine or whatever, still the same, but it's more pleasant to be me. I realized something on MDMA, which felt very forgiving and very open. And I was like, why am I so open now? And I realized because most of the time my brain is just like cortisol and adrenaline. And I'm like thriving in that. And I think that's my personality and that's my outlook. And then I was like, that's not even your outlook. That's just the chemicals you have. So therefore it makes you think it makes you seem cynical and cutting and biting and abrasive. And it's like, that's just the chemicals you have. So
figured out a way to try to ignore those chemicals and bring in more of like the nice serotonin family chemicals.
It seems like a lot of things in life are a little bit like just working it, fake it till you make it, you know?
Yeah, it's just literally, you know what I've been doing, which is the corniest thing in the world, is like I do a gratitude checklist. Oh, 4 times a day.
Smart.
Yeah, but like I do it 4 times a day because I
4
will,
feels high.
4 feels like a lot, but because I will forget it, I will forget.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I
You
just
snap
will
right back.
forget and then I start thinking negatively about my life, or like I say it's like I write science fiction about my life, like they're out to get me and Spade hates you, whatever. And then you go, and then I just go, and then I write down like, no, you're a popular comedian. You have 3 Netflix specials. You co-created Dave Chappelle, like just things that are actually true. Like you write jokes just come to you. Your whatever, the attributes of the positive attributes of my life.
You're good at your job.
Yes.
You do well. You know,
Yeah.
it's a hard field.
And if you can make a living in the arts or something you love at and make a good living, that's a gratitude check off.
Absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely.
like I get paid to do this. I still go back to that all the time.
Yes, it's very hard.
I'm working right now.
Yeah, it's hard to. No, well, this feels like work, but it's other stuff. It's hard to remember. It's just hard to remember the positive parts of your life because we're like kind of. It's cooler to be negative and look like, this is hard, and I'm like, I'm a soldier, and all. I was like, no, we're all incredibly lucky.
And so, was it your idea to write down the 4 times a day, or is it a therapist?
It was actually no. I mean, like I was aware of it as like a like an Oprah thing. And then I was talking about Islam, and I said they pray 5 times a day, which is smart because it's like you got to remember. And then Rainn Wilson from The Office was like, "Why don't you try doing gratitude 4 times a day?" And I was like, "All right." And I've been doing it like probably 4 months at this point. It's pretty great.
And what did ayahuasca give you? If that MDA gave you that sort of gratitude, and
ayahuasca got me off antidepressants for good.
Really,
pretty big, yeah. And I was an atheist before, and then doing ayahuasca made me believe in a central creation force thing. But it's not like religious or like, so therefore
nothing wrong with that. I totally believe in that, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think people get hung up on like, well, it's like, what franchise do you, believe in?
Right. And that's, it gets to me, we're here. I always go back to that. Like, why are we here? Are we really here? Is our purpose here? What are we doing here? So I just emotionally have to think there's some creative designer,
some reason,
because it's also more comforting just to, a lot of faith or just belief systems. They asked Mel Gibson, who's a very devout Catholic, and he did, rather than go in defending the religion, he goes, what choice have I got? I did a little Australian accent. What choice have I got? So, it's like, I'm going to be way more content and at peace with myself during this time, this journey. So it's sort of like I'm choosing to be open to the.
Yeah, in a weird way, it is like a self-interested choice because it kind of it's easier if you don't take everything so literally. Like if it's like, this is my only shot, and I gotta make the most money, and I gotta succeed, and I gotta honor this time, this 80 years or whatever on earth, I gotta rise and grind. And you're like, or it's like, no, you're part of a bigger.
That's what I say 4 times a day.
I would say
this is my only shot. I need more money. No, I believe, and I was in my late 20s. I realized there was a higher power than Lorne Michaels. No, I was at 30. And then I said, there's got to be something above that. And now I'm enlightened.
And we're talking, of course, about Bernie Berlstein.
Those are 2 of my favorite references.
Fantastic.
Neil,
nobody knows nothing. Nobody knows anything in the business. Now give me 10% of your money.
I don't know anything, but listen to me.
But we love Bernie.
I love Bernie.
Of course.
When you did Chappelle Show was, let's say, 2003. Does that sound right?
Oh, yeah, that sounds right. It is right. 2002 to 2004 or 2002 to 2005.
Okay, so SNL was going, and you guys, did you ever want to write for SNL? Was that even in your possibilities? Or you
We
guys?
had written, yeah, like kind of like me and Chappelle wrote Half Baked in '97, and then so
Oh
Brewer was
yeah,
in it, and
Jimmy
then
Brewer.
I kind of got. You were doing Spade. That's when I met you. You were doing Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag, maybe.
Not at the
Is
top
that
of the
true?
resume, but
Joe
yes,
In
Pesci.
Toronto.
that sounds
In
about right.
Toronto.
Mhm.
Yeah, in Toronto. And then I was and then I met a guy named Mike Schur who wrote for SNL, and he and I wrote a couple screenplays together.
Okay.
And then so I was always sort of around, and then through Schur I became friends with like Seth Meyers and Poehler
Mhm.
and then all those people. So I would go to the parties.
That's got
But
something.
yeah, so that's something. And then I actually, when Dave hosted in 2016, I wrote that week on the show.
Mm.
And it was I mean, it was the week Trump won the election, so it was
Wow.
an insane week to be there.
Oh wow.
But and it was like, I remember I was friends with Joe, so I was like in Joe's office and on a exit polling conference call at 6 p.m. On the election night, and the guy Frank Lutz was like, Hillary's up by 6. Hillary's up by 6 points. It's
Right.
like, so then
At 6 p.m. Okay.
yeah, at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Mhm.
And then so as the night went on, you just got to see like what like people transform. And like me and Michael Che wrote a sketch about it was going to be Rick James doing an update.
I like it already.
Why does
saying that-
anything with Rick starts with Rick James? Go
right,
ahead.
Rick James doing a weekend update, doing an update about how he realizes that he could have been president of the United States. And like, but we did like 3 versions of it. Like there was like at 9 o'clock, it's like Donald Trump failed at Rick James's dream. And then at 2 a.m. we rewrote it to be like another thing. And then 5 a.m. we rewrote it to like, I could have been president. And then me and Jost at like 6 or 7 a.m. I pitched a sketch of like, why don't we just do a bunch of people watching the returns come in?
Mhm.
And it ended up being like the popular sketch that week.
Oh, good.
But we wrote it I mean, again, I'm not telling, it's all these like, it's the same heroism stories all the SNL, like, I'm a hero, and then like, I punched Downey, and then we got the scripted cards.
Randa cards.
Yeah, and then Wally was like, what is this? I can't even read this. So we wrote that sketch, and it did like pretty good. It did like decent at read through, but it had like some punch. And then we rewrote it.
But some of those are
And then-
visual, and then they come alive when you're doing them.
What was the through hook of that? Just the
it was
evolution of their
literally like,
attitude?
it was like 7 a.m.
Mhm.
I'm really like, everyone's excited, and then like, a couple lines about how
Shoes
excited they are.
start dropping.
Yeah,
states.
9:30. Yeah, then like, looks like Trump won, and like them going like, what? And then Dave's watching it with them, and then Chappelle had a funny direction for the rewrite. He goes, just make it blacker. So then the direction became like white people overreacting to a bad outcome, and Dave being black about it. Dave just being like, what the fuck did you like? What did you think? And then Rock came in, then Rock shows up at like 11, like with some food, like what's going on? And then him and Dave are just like play sniper to a bunch of upset white people. But it was funny, like I mean, like knowing about the show secondhand through Seth and Schur and a few people, but so because I was like writing with Dave, I got to go into the sketch pick
Yeah.
thing
Oh,
after
yeah.
read
That's
through.
Right.
a big place.
The
to
inner
be.
sanctum with Lauren,
Tight
where
club.
Yeah,
each
so, and-
sketch is a
Tight door.
card, and some cards make it onto the outline, and some don't.
Mhm.
It's a scary place. So you go in
So
there.
I did a. It's like the sanctum of sanctums, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the center of the Death Star. So I did a thing that I didn't know you can't do. Is I went up to the board.
No.
Yes, I went up to the board, took a card, and said,
That's
"I think you should move this
What
here."
the fuck?
And
wow.
stuck, and I don't think anyone had ever done it.
No.
No, I never
And
saw anyone
Lauren-
do it.
No.
I think I paralyzed
And a plus
Lauren. I think
one.
yes, exactly. And I paralyzed Lauren because Lauren is, for the many things, he is fairly passive.
Yeah.
If you confront him, none of this was calculated. So I basically hacked Lauren,
God damn.
moved a sketch up,
Hack the system.
And-
Pushed him out of the way.
but yeah, like get out, punch him in the threw him through the window, and then after dress didn't go well. I never realized how shaggy dress rehearsal
Oh,
was.
shaggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's
fucking,
just
it can be
shaggy.
really some loose ends in dress.
Yeah, like you don't know. It's like, oh, this shouldn't be a television show.
This shouldn't be on its feet right now. This is rehearsal.
No, this should.
It's not a joke, but there were a couple times my first season, I didn't know how it all worked either. I thought it was so bad and so long and so discombobulated. I just thought the show is not going to
This
go
doesn't
on
help
tonight.
it
They're going to
doesn't
have to
help
show
anything.
a movie or something.
Yeah, they're gonna have to show like The Godfather or something, or like the Lone Ranger or
And
something.
it's so long.
Yeah.
You're like, this is still going. What the? We got to do
It's
the
so
real one in a
long,
minute.
It starts at 7:30. You're like, we're not going to be able to do the 11:30 show. This
Exactly.
is running so
Yeah.
long. So after dress, we're in the Lauren's office, which is like 75. It's a fire hazard. It's like 75 people
Yeah.
in this cramped
It is a
room.
fire hazard.
20 by 20.
It's like
Yeah.
Chappelle was actually talking about hacking the system. He was smoking during that meeting. It's a tiny room. And Lauren, I think I did the card thing again.
Jesus, you took over.
And then this is how hard I hacked this guy. During the show,
You gave notes.
during the show, it's like the show's going well, right? It's like we figured it out, whatever. Cut the jokes that don't work. It was a miracle. When you cut the shit that doesn't work, the whole thing is better.
It starts to
And,
shine a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at it's 12, 40, 45. There's one sketch left, and there's a few on the board, and I go, "What's next?" And Lauren goes, "You decide."
Ah, wow.
So I got to pick the sketch, which Seth Meyers was like, "I don't think that's ever happened."
Never.
No.
And the way you do it is you have to rush the cockpit on Wednesday.
Yeah.
You rush the cockpit, you wrest control from them, and that's the only way. And then
Yeah.
you're the captain.
And
now.
then Lauren forgot your name because he's so many people. He's probably, could we have the pin pusher card guy come in from Wednesday? Pin pusher.
No, you know what's funny? I did go back because I'd had a good experience. I went back another week when I think Aziz Ansari was hosting, and me and Jost wrote a sketch. And guess who wasn't in the sketch picking meeting?
Yep.
Guh-guh.
You know what?
Oh.
I know
Nearly
that
B.
since then they have
Interesting.
someone in there that pushes a beverage cart in front of the host and his friends in the room. So no one can get to the board. I just like the balls of him going, okay, now it's the air show. We're going to open with Dave's monologue, and you hear in the back, nope.
Not this week, old man.
Sorry, that's at the end. Monologue
it was
is? Yep.
No, I know. What do you think?
Well, why? Wait, that's interesting.
But it was I've done it. I went back 2 more weeks, so a total of 3 weeks. And by the third week, I had like the classic experience of
Which
like the sketch. You have to kind of get they don't pick your sketch, and then like Jost objected, and then some people didn't like it, and then we got it on, but it was like late, and then people objected, and then it got cut Friday night.
ooh.
Yeah, no, I know. It was like, oh, I was like, this is the experience I've heard about.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
Right. Ugly.
Mm.
Ugly.
no, it was
Cal,
pretty ugly.
we should take a pause. I mean, this is
And you go, I guess I don't get to pick the last sketch again? Maybe I'll pick that
maybe,
one.
Lauren, do I need to reintroduce myself?
Maybe
You just
you
walk around
forgot
with a pin
who
through a
runs the
card.
show. Yeah.
Lorne, you're spinning a pin.
Like
Yeah.
this.
Lorne, I could pick it, please. Is there a donkey's
Yeah.
tail anywhere?
This fell off the
Yeah.
board accidentally.
Yeah, so it was I had every experience, I think, in 3 weeks.
So funny.
So Chappelle, like, I mean, just in broad strokes, just for our listeners, the difference between doing sketch in that environment and that whatever protocol you guys had, I didn't really know, but I assume it was pre-tape, not live.
It was all pre-tape.
Yeah.
And the staff was me and him. So it was
wow.
Well, because we had done Half Baked in '97 and it didn't go well. And then like we just didn't get what it was. We worked with Bob Simons, who you guys have both worked with, like on Half Baked, and we just kind of got mauled by the process because we were 23. So
what is when you look back at, because I've done a lot of bombs and stuff, or I was in them, but was there a flaw in Half Baked, or it was timing?
It was, I mean, I'll clean up our end of the street. We should have just rewritten it more. Once we got greenlit, we were just like, we're 23. Let's get this per diem in our pockets and get to the Brass Rail, the strip club in Toronto. Yeah.
What are you gonna wear to the Oscars?
Yeah, I mean, we were. Yeah, so like,
plus it's so exciting. You go, this is it. They bought the movie. Let's go shoot it. You don't think of let's keep.
I
polishing.
do think it had a great name.
Yeah,
Half Baked. You always remember it.
Yeah, that was Brewer's pitch. So like, so we just should have kept rewriting it, and then there was just production stuff that it was like, by the time we saw drawings and renderings of the sets and stuff, it was all very bright and colorful, and we were just kind of like, is this what you thought it was going to be? Just like we didn't. I think Bob had like the Billy Madison
lens on it.
Yeah, like the Billy Madison color palette. And Dana, I didn't see Master of Disguise, but it looked like you had that. We had it. Adam had it less in Happy Gilmore because it was more exteriors, but he got sort of further away from the sort of the kindergarten color palette.
Cheerful, family-oriented film.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We were doing a weed movie, so it was kind of like not exactly right for that. So it's just stuff like that.
So the authenticity quotient went down.
Yes. And
by the way,
should have rewritten it more.
Neil, you can even get burned on posters because there's a whole art like a blue background, like it. And I think Tommy Boy has one. A lot of them, there's a system where there's certain colors that make it look like a fun, happy family movie, and there's some that look a little grainier, even on the poster.
Yes, that's exactly right. But then also, were you in Airheads, Spade?
No.
Sorry to put that on you.
Brendan Fraser.
Yes, but like Airheads was a little more indie looking. Half Baked had the bright blue background. Yeah, Grass, Dave and Jim. It's like you're absolutely right. Like there's just a bunch of stuff, and I'm not saying like that it was wrong. I'm not saying I kind of feel like it wasn't quite right for us. And by the time we didn't have any power to go like, no, I didn't know that you could just walk up and take the index card.
Yeah,
and
you should have.
It's not actually all the time anyone's fault or a conspiracy. It's just that
no, exactly.
there's subjectivity to it, but I think if there's a through line, let's say you and Dave rewrote it and you had complete control over it, essentially, like the
Right.
way Adam Sandler does, then
Yeah.
you would all your stand up would come into play. Like, well, what's working? But if it gets muted,
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And also I was 23, Dave was 23. We didn't. So then once we got to Chappelle's show, then it was every single decision comes through one of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean,
For better or for worse, at least you can take the credit or live or die with it.
Yeah. And so like that was, so it was me and him. We would write, a couple people, a guy named Brian Tucker, who went on to be a great SNL writer, would pitched us some sketches. But me and Dave would always write them ourselves. And so it was, it was just a 2-person sort of black hole operation of like
how many sketches did you need? Because they were half hours, right?
Yeah, it was
commercials.
22. Yeah, it was 22 minutes.
One a week?
No, it was 22 minutes. We had musical guests, which would end up being about 3 minutes. So we ended up needing about 4 or 5 per episode. And that's very hard. So
That's a lot.
we had to do 12 episodes. But here's the crazy part: without reruns. So we had to do 12 weeks in a row of 4 or 5 sketches.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
So that's where it just becomes like almost unbearable.
Well, just you two? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Just
You
writer's
two?
room is too much.
Yeah, just us. So it was, and like you guys said, for better or worse, there's some of it's great. The second season's way better than the first one to me. Just objectively, but yeah, it just became like so the hard part was the pressure and there was no backstabbing. There were no politics.
Okay.
It was
all your
just,
energy
which is
goes
like,
to the show.
yes, but so it's like you guys got weeks off, but the whole week off, you're thinking about what an asshole so-and-so is, So we didn't have, we had less of that, but it is just like, so hard to do it that many weeks in a row. And then we get, 3 months off for between seasons, but yeah, but
Were you riding high?
Yeah. When did you go,
doing
holy
well? Were you
shit,
like,
we got a
holy
hit?
shit?
Well, what's funny is the way it pertains to SNL is did you guys read that Live from New York book, the Tom Shales book?
Flip through it.
Yeah.
Flip
So
I'm familiar
again,
with it. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Little thick.
lived it, so it's more like, oh yeah, is that what happened? But
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff you go, well, that didn't happen like that.
yeah, exactly.
Everyone has
But
that.
for an outsider, it was interesting I didn't know. I genuinely had never, and I love I wrote for a sketch show called All That on Nickelodeon when I was like 20,
Keenan.
before all that stuff. With Keenan.
Quiet on the set.
Quiet on the Set. You may know it from Quiet on the Set. Dude, that show is so popular. It's number 1 on HBO today. It's been out for like a month.
Fucking, it's
But
not that quiet.
yeah, it's not that. I had a good joke on that guy that I'll tell you guys off the air. It wasn't about molesting. It was a fat shaming joke, so that's pretty cool.
Okay.
But so I never, until I read Live from New York, I never thought about like character sketches
Mm-hmm.
or parodies or premise sketches
Mm-hmm.
or like I never kind of classified them.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally read it. I take it to Chappelle. I go, read this. Like before we gotten picked up, and then he was like, oh. So then we started approaching it like, let's do a character sketch, let's do a premise sketch, it was so disorganized. It was such a 2-man operation that we ended up having 2 distinctions of sketches, which is longies and shorties. So it was a pretty
Smart.
high level operation, but like
High level lingo.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
it was
also, which is done, we used to call them on the Dana Carvey show, presentational. So it's like there's a little song or a chiron that kind of gives a joke away, like Germans who say nice things. What I did with Steve Carell.
Right.
It's his bit. It's just two guys facing. You know the premise right away.
Yep.
2 minutes of jokes. Out.
Yes, that's a. I'm glad you brought that up because I remember I went to SNL while we were doing Chappelle Show, and I was like, I looked at Seth and I was like, oh, I now I realize having Chappelle on stage setting the sketch up beforehand does so much heavy lifting.
Yes.
You don't need to spend 80 seconds going like, here we are at a restaurant. I hope nothing crazy happens.
Everyone's wondering where it's going.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? What are we doing?
So he could say like, me and my wife argue about race and who does what. And then we can go like, so we got to have a racial draft and then toss to like everything's set up. Which again, I think there's like you guys, but Dana, I forgot about how great the Dana Carvey show was until you mentioned it. Congratulations again. That show was incredible.
It's nice to have when you only get 8 shows on the air and you get a nice documentary. Thank you, Josh Greenbaum. That kind of goes,
could be worse. Yeah, could be totally forgotten.
Well, I was going to ask you this question based on you asking, bringing that up because Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert, they were not them. They weren't who they are now. Yeah, they're kind of insecure, but they were great immediately. And you've known Dave so long, and forget how funny he is. Just his stage presence has gone to this other level. I don't know how you've watched this evolution of somebody who's that comfortable on stage and confident.
Yeah, I don't think it's
or has he always been that guy?
It's almost, he's kind of always been that guy. He was good. I don't know when you guys first saw him, but I heard a story fairly recently where Martin Lawrence, Dave's in high school on stage at Garvin's or somewhere in DC. And Martin Lawrence has done like Do the Right Thing, and he's come back to DC and he's doing good. And somebody's like, and Dave's on stage, and somebody says to Martin, what do you think of this kid? And Martin goes, I don't know, but I can't stop looking at him. Like he's in high school then. Dave also had a joke that I like telling people, one of his high school jokes, when the show Alf came out. Dave had a joke. It's a good thing Alf didn't land. It's a good thing Alf landed in a white neighborhood and not a black neighborhood, because if Alf had landed in a black neighborhood, 2 weeks later, you would have seen brothers wearing Alf skin coats.
Alf skin coats.
Pretty good joke for a kid in high school. So like the thing of his, how natural he is. And like, I don't even think I don't even compare it. It's like, well, I'm never going to be able to do that. So it's not even worth emulating, because it's
not
like
a lot of people could.
Yeah. Like, do you guys know of anybody that's that? Like, I've literally been having conversations with him. Like, I don't even know when the show's starting. He's smoking, be like, Brennan, you don't know puts the cigarette, doesn't even put the cigarette out, just backs onto the stage while we're talking and gets a standing ovation.
Yeah.
Like, just there's no separation between being a person and being the guy on stage.
Yeah, well, two things that are interesting is to that I guess for a period of time post that show and everything that happened, you'd start to show up in clubs, and I would just hear, I would hear 6-hour sets or 4-hour sets. I don't, and so that would get someone confident anyway. But this is what's interesting to me. Like Eddie Murphy is 19. He comes out on SNL. So he's at a confidence, he's just there. It's unbelievable, right? Yeah. I'll take Louis C.K. just because he's such a brilliant stand-up.
It's an amazing comedian, yeah.
And he's going through the normal thing of finding his way. And then 20 years later, he's at this level that you can only equal it as a stand-up. So it's interesting where people who get it so fast and so young, but we could get there, Neil. You could get there.
We start today. Yeah, we start today.
I have you booked at the West Side. You're going to do a 7-hour set. Neil Brennan and friends, but no one else is coming.
Well, no, but that's what's funny is like I don't it's like how I would think of it's like I have the material I have 43 minutes or whatever. Whereas I can't like channel or whatever. Like Spade, you seem like a very bit oriented person. Like you have the time you have.
Yeah, well, I also like to do longer stories now because to eat time also and to be more personality driven bits, because some bits can be, if you do it about a subject, it might have been trampled on already. But if you talk about your own life or your version of something that happens, that sort of identifies you and your persona. So those stories I like a lot because they can't be really duplicated. It has to be me telling them. So I like those in the act. It doesn't do well
How
for
old
TikTok
are there
clips.
stories? Are there stories that you're doing that you were like, could I do that in my act? Are they new stories or is it like when I was a kid?
Most of it's new, but I could go back and mine stuff and say this was funny, and I could make it funnier because you learn how to tell stories better. But if it has like little tiny punchlines along the way
Yeah.
and little tent pole laughs, so it's not just a story. Like Norm used to tell a joke. Johnny went to school, and then it's a 15 minutes, and then he does the punchline. So it's kind of a funny walk there through the joke, but you also are like waiting for the actual funny part.
Yeah.
But if you can keep a story going like that, I do like that. I also have some one-liners. It's really a mess, to be honest, but it's whatever's funny.
He's fine.
But I don't like doing long sets. I'll say that. I don't like doing hour and a half. I don't think it's necessary.
I don't either. I don't think people want, like, my Netflix is 53 minutes. Like it was an hour and 5 live, but like
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't like.
I'm with you.
No,
Just
I think
make-
everyone's sharing shorts and stuff. I think it just needs Attell, I think, was 35 minutes of stand up, but he had people playing the
Yeah.
recorder to extend it to 40.
Yeah.
So if you go past, we were talking about this, that you can kind of ride a wave to maybe 40, but not anybody has to have that lull. The audience gets tired if you're lucky, from laughing. And then you have the low, and then you have to rebuild. But what I would say about you, which makes you unique, one is the 3 mics thing. It's very original, incredibly fun for a comedian to watch. It's just like, it's, all these styles. And then on this one, I haven't seen anyone do it, but you're just doing regular stand-up. You're killing, but then all of a sudden you're talking about atheism. Your face goes to a little corner in black and white, I think, and then this sort of commercial, this big video collage comes on.
I do. Basically, I do. The premise is religions should make attack ads on each other like politicians.
Yeah, it's great.
And so then I basically do the voiceover in the corner. And
is there a screen in the theater?
No, there was no screen there.
So they're laughing because of
They're laughing because of the voiceover, and then because this is a visual presentation for people at home, I'm like, why? It's what analogy I always use is television degrades, you can film an amazing thing, and in order for it to work through a television camera and go and work in homes, it has to be so great that it can get through television, like knocks the quality down 40%, right?
Yeah.
And the analogy I always use is SNL musical guests. SNL musical guests live in that studio, I think we can all agree, some of the best shows I've ever seen.
Or heard, too. It's like
some of the best, yes.
Give you the chills.
What I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Literally, someone you don't even like will give you the chills when you watch them at 8H. And then if you're at home, you're like fast forwarding. And that's the difference between, like, television just makes stuff worse. Like in the room, you can feel the bass in your chest. So in terms of like stand up, I tried to do more visual stuff on Netflix because people can watch anything. People can watch Batman Return. They can watch Flip and Fall videos. They can watch the Zapruder film. They can just watch, and they can watch The Godfather 2. They can watch, like,
right.
So
that
they can
Zapruder.
that
Zapruder's bad quality.
because that's
No, it's not great quality, but you can see it.
No, on TV it comes
And
off
it's
very
but
bad.
it's pretty funny, and it is pretty funny.
It's funny.
What I was going to say was then you also did a visual effect where you're like on a big iPhone talking to
Yes.
us.
I'm talking about social media. Spade, you would like my comedy. You should look at it. You would
And get influenced by it. Whoops.
Yeah.
Just
I talk about girls on social media and guys on social media, the kind of hustlepreneur thing. And Danny, you know what's funny is I'm doing Hans Franz. I'm doing the clap. I do the clap basically.
Hustlepreneur.
And it took me like a year before I'm like, I'm doing Hans Franz. I just was doing it, and then I realized like, oh, I'm doing Hans Franz. Without the accent. But I cut to when I'm doing the like, what's up, guys? You want to make money? I go to like a frame, like the 16, the 9:16 frame. So just trying to help myself on television.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's less of a man's it's less of a TED Talk. It's just less of a one man standing there, nothing happening.
If you do think of that way, because on the last special, when I went into the inner sanctum, they said at max people last 12, 15 minutes. And if you designed your stand-up, like the audience, the physical audience is going to start leaving, you would really front load it. And the way to win the game show is that you keep them longer than anyone else. But about your visual imagery, it's a little bit to me like when David and I talk on this other podcast we're doing where we're just sort of riffing and stuff. And I'm doing a couple of voices. And then we have a gentleman, young person, edit it together and then mix in visual effects to it. And that's your YouTube short clip. Everyone does it. And it's just very potent. Potency is
it's
huge.
Just better. This idea that like, I'm breaking the sanctity of stand-up. Like, there's no, like, I want people to look at it. I don't like, and all this thing about like, what about the history and your legacy? I love comedy. I haven't watched Richard Pryor in 25 years. I'm not going back and looking in the, like, what about, it's like, we have the one Crazy Kid was on the Netflix charts for a week. Mm-hmm. I can't believe it was on there that long. Usually it's like we get about, in terms of like Bring the Pain, Christmas special came out in 96, and I feel like it lasted culturally for 3 years. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it was analog in the 90s. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even like Mike Myers was saying like, this is like what this is not the showbiz that we all started, especially you guys who were like popular. Like Wayne, if you were in Wayne's World, this is a little different. Right. So
even
like,
as a Stark stand-up special, it's like at a certain point it could be Ansel Adams. You just don't want to go, it looks great, but you want to get with the times too. So we have little clips. You got to jazz them up or put words, anything. Just
jazz them, anything.
Just what
anything.
Yeah.
People are, Dana, that's a good way to think of it, is like, how do I get people to
not walk away?
Imagine them walking out of it. Bill Burr actually said he tries to make his setups sound insane so that people will be like, what? Where he's like, I'm sick of fat people crying. And then you go, wait, what?
Right. Yeah. Every TikTok starts with, this is the craziest thing that ever happened to me. And then they go, let me back up. And you're like, oh.
Yeah. Have you guys know about toes? Well, I stub mine. Has that happened to you? It's incredible. Like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got really rich with crypto. Should I hate myself?
Yeah. No, that's right.
So bylines.
Yeah. Approaching it from like, not even sensational, like, or as sensationally as you can do it and not feel like a piece of garbage. So like that's kind of, or even Sandler's a good example of like guitars, and I'm going to put it down, and then I'm going to go over here, and it's just like, and he's got visuals. Yeah, he's got visuals. He's got his closer now with the thank you comedy thing. Like, It's like, and he said he had a screen and stuff behind him. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
so
totally
yeah,
agree.
like do like, I think it's silly to think that we should just do it the way it was done.
Old fat,
You know?
yeah, a purist would be the
Yeah, because if
yeah.
I'm sure you guys meet people all the time who are like, have no idea who you are. And then you go, I remember there was a girl. I know. Let me slow down. No, there was a girl. There was a girl who wrote on the Daily Show who was a black girl who didn't know that Chris Rock had a show on HBO.
There you go.
Like
easily,
how,
yeah.
How, and then you go, well, how would she know? She was 8 when it was on.
Right. Someone said, I know all your shit all the way back to Grown Ups. I'm like, Grown Ups? That was 10 years ago?
I thought I was done by the time Grown Ups came out.
Yeah, I got new Juicy Life on TBS.
My fans have jumped the shark on that. They're like in their late 60s, and they're like, my kids sure are fans of yours. They are.
Yeah.
They were born when Wayne's World was made. How's that possible? But yeah.
Dana, what are the bits that people bring up from Wayne's World now? That like the most common bits. Obviously like swing and all that stuff when it's out, but what is the
little ones? If you're gonna spew into this. For me, little Garth things. I'd say for me, it'd be the Dream Girl and being knocked over, and the Foxy Lady Dance because of the Hendrix song is very potent. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but Garth, the shyest guy in town, does this dance. Stuff like that. To get a hit like that is so rare. Talk about gratitude. I'm going to write that down.
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World. And Mike Myers and I and Lorne Michaels share net profit on the film. And so every year we get checks from that film.
Net profit?
Yeah. There were no gross players. People don't know that. You don't really make money from movies because if there's someone in there who gets 20% of the gross, they'll never turn a profit. But we made it for 12 and it did 200 million, and then it did a bunch on video. So that was kind of cool. So I didn't want to say, but I took ayahuasca right before we got on this.
We're timing this really well.
I'll tell you what I learned from today's podcast.
Sum it
before
up,
we
man.
Before we let Neil go, I'll say,
if you guys, I'm trying to think of anything else we should talk about. If there's anything
I was gonna say, I did like that you wrote for Singled Out because I used to watch that show and Jenny McCarthy blew up. That was a cool, fun show. But was there any crazy thing you?
That was my first job in show business. That was my first writing job, and I remember
it's a big show.
It was, it was like she was on the cover of Rolling Stone. I remember, and the Rolling Stone was a magazine.
Yes, and people looked at it,
and then it was like there were a few cultural hubs, I remember saying during the pilot, this show is very stupid and it's going to be very popular. Like I could just sort of tell, like, oh, this is going to be, I'm so old. Neil, how old are you? I'm so old. I was in Las Vegas the night Tupac was murdered, and I ended up sitting at a blackjack table with Jenny McCarthy all night playing blackjack. That's how old I am. I was meeting Chappelle there, and he missed his flight.
Is that how you mourned?
Wow.
Wouldn't be the first time. I wouldn't be the last time you miss a flight to meet me.
Yeah.
And so I'm quite aged.
Yeah, you're old, and I think your next special should be called Cortisol and Adrenaline. Is that what you said? Cortisol?
Yeah, cortisol and adrenaline. Negative brain chemicals.
It should be called Be Grateful That You're About to Watch Neil Brennan's Comedy Show.
With a lot of extra pictures and words.
Oh, if I do one now, I've been thinking this way anyway. It's just going to be just blasting video and parodies.
It should be. What's the downside?
Yeah,
it's
who
like
cares?
Nobody gets. One person complained, like not even complained. They were just like, it kind of took me out of it. Everybody else knows, like this is where we are. Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld didn't mention the video. You know what I mean? Like didn't say like I didn't like that. Like it was everyone's on board. Like we have to help ourselves, guys.
I think mine might be called Wait For It because that's what every stupid TikTok says.
Watch till the end. No,
watch till the end. And then you go, By the way, I like when they say wait for it, and it's a 6-second video. I'm like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, how bad are people's attention span? They're like, I don't have this kind of
wait
time.
for 6 seconds.
Yeah.
And then it's very anticlimactic.
I just want to quickly do a quick test to see if we can bring Crazy Good back into the top 10. This is a great special. It's revolutionary. It has video effects. You don't believe it. He talks about anti-vax people, talks about Joe Rogan. I see. Sex couples, psychopaths invented the world, basically, and drug addicts. They're very, very important. And, of course, ayahuasca we talk about on this podcast.
Of course. And Ellen DeGeneres. I have a joke about Ellen DeGeneres that Spade I think you will like, and I'm sure Dana will.
Can you say it right now?
I'll say it right now.
It's part of the special.
I basically, people, but like comedians are expected to be leaders now and like morally righteous. And people go, is Ellen nice? I was like, is Ellen nice? How many nice lesbians have you ever met in your entire life?
Jim Jeffries.
I go after Jim Jeffries. Everybody gets a little something. I don't go after anybody. Everybody was like, everyone has approved and thanked me for them. So like it's all in good fun.
Yeah, and Jim Jeffries, I don't think him because with his Australian accent when he first came on the scene, he had like a 10-minute bit, and I remember him saying, I don't like lesbians. You can be having the best day of your life. A lesbian shows up, you're fucked. Something like that. But anyway. Great comment.
Yes.
Great.
Yes. Incredible comment.
Thank you, Neil.
And he's on the spectrum. All right. Great. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
You were an incredible, easy guest. People who do podcasts are really good guests, I've noticed.
Yeah, I would like you both on my podcast. It's called Blocks. Spade, I don't think you're going to do it. It's a little too emotional for you. Dana, on the other hand, I think is a prime candidate.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send some emails about it.
Yeah.
I would. I have a story.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right, great.
David has stories too. I don't know. That's a whole nother podcast of whether comedians also have some struggle.
We're all nuts.
I mean, obviously, a lot of people do, but comedians I meet seem to have stories. A lot of them,
Seinfeld did it yesterday, so I feel like Letterman's done it. Letterman's done it, and now I've got Letterman and Seinfeld. I feel like anyone who passes, I'm kind of like, okay, so you're better.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah, very good.
You.
All right, boys, good to see you.
Thanks, Neil.
Miss you. See you soon on the street.
Miss you. Bye.
Bye.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey. Please follow, subscribe, leave a like, a review, all the stuff. Smash that button, whatever it is, wherever you get your podcasts. Fly on the Wall is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Jenna Weiss-Berman of Odyssey, Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment, and Heather Santoro. The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman.